Assassin's Creed Origins.
The Rad Brad can eat my ass, man. Fuck that nigga.
I didn't look closely enough on it, but from the looks of it, I can't tell. But it almost looked like there wasn't. But he was kind of fighting weird. But like the one thing that's got me, which I was telling you about, kind of like I don't know, is the way he fights. The way he be like on some roller skates, the way he slides around, like that shit was really weird.
Yes.
Like if that was something that like was in an alpha build, I would be like, okay, that's fine, I'll give it a pass. But like it seems like I've seen a lot of different variations of this game, and it still looks like he's still sliding all over the place. So I don't know. But we'll see.
Why does it still have my Assassin's Creed fucking... Oh my god, it does! What the fuck, Restream? What are you doing?
Check to see if your thumbnail... Oh, Restream? Restream doesn't update thumbnails, just updates titles.
Oh no, not the thumbnail, the actual title. It didn't update the title, so that's what I'm tripping about right now.
We'll just do streaming IRL. We'll just do that. That's a good thing.
I changed mine to Assassin's Creed Origins. Okay. And it took, yeah, it didn't even change any of my, what the fuck, YouTube? Let's see, your changes are being saved. Whatever, I'm about to do some etiquette shit and just change it. I don't even know why I bother streaming this shit. Oh well, then I can just cut it up later.
Okay, I think everything is set up though. Alright. You know, I probably didn't really, I don't know if people had even used that video, but it seems like people already know, they know what it is about that podcast life. But anyways, Goku got his ass beat. Yeah, so Jay's at least watched the bits of it, which actually, now that I look, yeah, out of that entire, like, 40 minutes...
There's only 13 watchable minutes. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, there was these moments where, just like, this was the one instance, because you know how this shit always irritates me, there's the one instance where, like, showing everyone's reactions to the fight was actually dope, because normally it just seems like it's just an excuse to give the episode extra screen time, which I'm sure was the same case this time. I will say, though, some things that disappointed me about this episode, which I don't really talk about these things so much in my live reactions or in my, like, when I talk about the show so much, because I feel like all the people who've heard me say this, they've heard it already, but, like, okay, so, like, one of the things that I saw a comment, and I'll probably make a whole separate video where I'll just read through the comments, because I always do that when I get a video that gets a lot of views, but one of the comments that I saw was someone saying, oh, no one's going to mention the fact that they copy and paste the animations. I've already made that parody. I showed the hit comparison against Dispo and against,
we still talking about copying and pasting frames, man. That's still an issue.
Yeah, like there was a copy and pasted frame, which I don't know if you've seen that part where Jiren picks up Goku by the hair, and it's the exact same frame from when Vegeta picked up Goku Black by the hair. And I did point that out. Like, I did see that in the episode. But I wasn't necessarily complaining about the copy and pasted animation, because it's like we already kind of have accepted that this is the thing the anime does, so we don't really need to mention it.
I don't give a damn about that. I do give a damn about the fact that Goku was trying to throw hands and Jiren was like, nah, fuck that, bruh. I'm grabbing you by your ankles
Jiren
the whole
is way
match.
Overpowered. Like, holy shit. I did not realize, I didn't really truly have a grasp on how overpowered he was until I saw that. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like, I don't know.
It was like watching All Might fight Midoriya all over again. That's exactly what I thought.
Levels. Like, there might be have to come up with a Deus Ex Machina. So here's my theory, okay? I'm going to call it right now. I'm going to speak this into the universe in case it happens. Because when they originally showed this character, this Goku artwork in his new form, he didn't have a shirt on. And in his first form, he has a shirt on. So, and obviously, it's, which, they always drop Dragon Ball Super spoilers weeks before they happen. I don't know who the fuck is out there keeping... in charge of the storyboards, just uploading this shit on a Wikipedia or whatever the fuck, but
it's on Tumblr. That's what it is. It's on Tumblr, because nobody believes it on Tumblr. It's on Tumblr. Nobody believes it on Tumblr. Like, anytime something like that drops, yeah, on Reddit or on Tumblr, and you'd be like, nah, this is just fan-made bullshit. Like, nobody takes it seriously. Then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, this is legitimate.
And like, Google has this new feature where like they have these cards on the app. You know what I'm talking about? Where they display articles and trending websites based on what you're looking at. And well, obviously the way it works is that then I keep clicking on them, and then it keeps doubling and tripling my recommendations based on those things. It's like when you're on YouTube and you click on a video, just like one video. Like, even my dad was talking about this, because like he was watching YouTube in the living room, and I went down there and he was watching a video called do porn stars really like facials? And I'm like, Dad, what the fuck? And he's like, listen, okay, I watched one video about that, and then my recommendations are not all about that, and then he keeps clicking on them, and so now all of his videos are like, porn stars without makeup and shit like that,
Wow.
That's how Google does it on the app as well. It's like I looked up probably at one point in time a Dragon Ball Super article, and now every 5 seconds, Goku's new transformation revealed, Goku's new transformation, where it came from, and just all this bullshit. I'm like, why do I have a Double for Anime personal feed on Google? Like, I hadn't realized, and this is why, you know, and this is me, you know, pre-time skip heavenly, right? This is me beforehand when like people talk shit about Double for Anime and how scummy he is with his clickbait and things like that nature. But what I've come to realize is that everybody, like, people give him like maybe the most flack for it because he's the most upfront with it. But if anything, I feel like you can kind of respect him for that because he doesn't try to like pretend like he doesn't do it, you know? Because like I start to realize the entire internet does it. They're just a little bit. They try to be more sneaky with it.
BuzzFeed is hilarious with it.
Because you know all the shit that I talk about Double for Anime is it's clickbait, and then now here I am. It started just being a joke, but now it's just like a legitimate thing that works. Here I am doing the same thing. I feel like the one criticism that I still hold to about Double 4 is that despite his clickbait, which I don't really think that's the main thing, I think is that he clickbaits people into shitty content, you know? Because then when you get to the video, he's just talking about like he's talking about nothing. He's talking about bullshit, right? My thing is that I'm making entertaining content. I'm just trying to create a catalyst for you to find that content. And then once you get to the video, then you can see, okay, I like this content. So like, okay, here's the difference between me and Double 4, because I can see the misinterpretation about how, oh, it's like, oh, heavily use all this clickbait as well. So people will get clickbaited by my video, but then the comments and like to dislike ratio will be like, oh, that was a dope video, this was funny, I enjoyed this content. And then you go on a Double 4 video and just like, I just got clickbaited, fuck you faggot, dislike, whatever. And I'm sure some people
I just got clickbaited, fuck you faggot. That's
but at the same time though, it works, bro, it works, you know.
I mean, you know what? I've experienced this firsthand. Like it's some crazy shit. Like you would expect somebody to click on a video and know what the fuck they were getting. Like sometimes you just need to watch the video, man. I just don't understand. Like some people just get so triggered. It's just fucking hilarious. And then you know what? I actually have a distinguishing like thing that I call it. Like click luring is completely different than clickbaiting, and of course we've already talked about this like 1,000 times.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good term you coined. Click
luring
right?
is
click lure, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's just like it throws out some shit that you're gonna click, but you got lured into a good video. Bait is you just got baited into some shit, and then we just ripped it out of your fucking mouth, and it's just like got you though, like you fell for it.
Separate the two, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm looking at my thing. I feel like my mic is like, it's going in the red. I feel like it's up too loud. I don't know. Because I do, like, sometimes when I do my live reaction, it just seems like my thing distorts a little bit sometimes. I don't know. I'll turn it down just a little bit. But I think that what I would say with click alluring is more of an exaggeration of the video, whereas a clickbait is just blatant misdirection. Because my titles in videos aren't really lying. They're never just straight up misleading you. They're just exaggerating what the video actually is, which is something that I've started to just do on purpose. And it's like, I guess you can't even say it's a meme because it's something that is just done. Like even when I look at other YouTubers and like, it's to the point to where now someone who doesn't watch YouTube often, it works on them more frequently. Whereas like my dad, like I was talking about this too, how it's so entertaining to watch him the first time when he found YouTube because I got him a Fire TV. And so now he has access to YouTube because he doesn't like watching stuff on his phone because the screen is too small or whatever. He's old, you know. So he's like first time coming on YouTube, and the first thing he was falling for was these fan-made trailers and all of this like fake shit and things of that nature.
Damn.
So that was the first thing that he was starting.
Papa Controller was unaware, man. He was unaware.
Yeah. But obviously, if you're on YouTube for a while, you start to recognize these signs more. But for me, and see, here's the thing: is like David Dobrik, for example. Oh my God, David Dobrik, he clickbaits every thumbnail or all of his little friend circle. You know, Zane does the same thing. Jason does the same thing. They all do this clickbaity shit with their thumbnails, and their titles. But you know what you're getting in for, and you're like, okay, well, if this is what you needed to do to catch my eye, and it worked. Like there was this one video where it was a David Dobrik video, and it was just Corinna's tits, and I'm like, whoa, there's Corinna's tits, right? I know Corinna's tits aren't gonna be in the video, but I mean, I like David Dobrik's content, so he used the thumbnail to get my attention, to get me to look to see that he made a video, and then I click on the video. So
my boy Kendrick with the 60 bits. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your donation. Thank you.
Yeah, so you know you gotta. So here's the different things you gotta do with the clickbait, right? And like it's funny too because it was one of those things where I saw other people doing it, and I started doing it, and I started to notice that other people saw me doing it, and they started doing it too. So it all kind of tumbles down. It's like all caps titles. Oh my God, this just happened. Blah 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 blah. Like this stuff. Like it's one of those things. In fact, and was it in a podcast or was it in just a live stream? I don't remember. Oh no, I think it was just a regular live stream. But Jay, I think you were there when or maybe you weren't, but we talked about at least that PewDiePie video about clickbait, right?
Right. Where, yeah. I've seen that video probably 2, 3, 4 times.
PewDiePie made a video where he was talking about the clickbait, and he was talking about all of the most clickbaity practices. But in that same video, he talks about, you know, I do all of these things too. So it's a completely self-aware thing. Like, people aren't doing this not realizing what they're doing, but it's like, it's one of those things like fight fire with fire. It's like it's what you have to do on the site, and that's why people are like, man, fuck YouTube, because like YouTube does not cater towards quality, genuine content. And the sad part is that some of my favorite channels make videos like that, but they just aren't very lucrative channels. So like, as much as I respect those channels more, as opposed to like a channel that I make, like when I look at my channel, it's more of like, it's a combination of two things. It's a combination of content creation and getting views and subs. You know, it has to be those two things. But it's like, you have to do one to do the other. You have to get views and subs to be able to afford to continue to make videos. So you have to kind of balance those out. Whereas you get some channels that they just upload every few days, maybe weeks, and they are just straight up genuine content. They're not clickbaiting you. They're just straight up, straight to the point, straightforward videos. And some of those channels, they do well, but it's very rare. And like you were just talking about, Jay, which we're going to get into this in a second, but like we're talking about the whole shit with YouTube's demonetization and how some YouTubers who don't upload every day, they have to deal with shit like that. So, but yeah, so okay, so Jay, let's hurry up and talk about this Dragon Ball Super thing, because I want to talk about the YouTube demonetization more. But I'll also, for those of you who want me to go,
oh, I thought we were already past talking about Dragon Ball Super.
I want to make a few more references to it, and then we'll move on past it. So the thing about because there was something I wanted to say specifically about the episode. Oh yeah, okay, now I remember. The one thing that kind of made me a little bit like confused, and it was like a wake up call for me. I'm like, oh my god, I like there was hints of this, but I finally realized it, and that was that these writers for Dragon Ball Super, they do not know how to write Vegeta. They just don't know how to do it. Because I was always contemplating why Vegeta wasn't given as much to do, or why, like, it just felt like Vegeta was just always put on the sidelines, or he wasn't given enough source material, and it's just that they just don't know how to write him. It kind of reminds me of how Kishimoto doesn't know how to write women, which is why all of the women are just poorly developed characters, like Sakura. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the same instance here, is that, you know, then the reason why it's a more noticeable thing is that Toriyama knew how to write Vegeta, but the new creators that he's passed the mantle down to don't. So now it's more obvious. And the reason why I say that is because think of Vegeta's personality. Now, even though he's kind of started to become more of a lax character over the years, he's still Vegeta. And like, there were moments where Vegeta did shit that seems like something what Vegeta would do. Then there's also moments that would contradict that. Here's two examples. Here's an example of something that Vegeta did that was in his character and that was out of his character. There was one thing that he did where Goku was forming the Spirit Bomb. And he's like, everyone lend me your energy. And Vegeta's like, fuck you, nigga, I ain't giving you my energy. The hell? I need to fight too. So he was the one guy. Even Frieza gave Goku energy for a Spirit Bomb, but Vegeta didn't. Which is like, what the fuck, Vegeta? But that's totally a Vegeta thing to do.
That's a Vegeta thing. Yeah, even through all of his development. Okay, I understand that. Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah. So there's that. But the one thing that, and I was like even saying my live reaction, I look forward to seeing this happen, and it wasn't really there, is that Goku just unlocked a new transformation. This nigga is Jesus now. And Vegeta just didn't really care. He just didn't really react. He's just like...
He didn't, yeah. That was, it was a little lackluster.
Like, what the fuck? Right? Vegeta should be losing his mind because Vegeta gets so frustrated how he just works so hard and Goku is just always stronger than him. And I understand that Vegeta to an extent, because he mentioned this at the end of the Boost Saga, he's kind of to an extent accepted, Goku, you're the best. You're always going to be better than me. But he doesn't still. It still bothers him.
He doesn't let it. He doesn't let it discourage him because even when he fought Frieza, he was like, "Yeah, I mean, you could totally work for me and just kill this guy because you know my henchman just bodied this nigga with a ray gun because that makes sense, I guess." And then he was like, "Yeah, Vegeta, I'll make you, you know, Lord of the Frieza Squad or whatever." And he was like, "Nah, I need this nigga alive." He goes, "Why?" "Because he makes me stronger." That is pure character development, sir. Okay? That is not only to piggyback off of what he said in the Boo Saga, which is a continuation of the series, but then he just continues to grow as a character. So when I see that he has no reaction to Goku becoming even more powerful, maybe Vegeta's just at this point where he's just like, I'm not surprised anymore. Like,
here's my one theory about why Vegeta didn't really respond to Goku's transformation. which I can't begin to try to understand why they would do this, but I think that there might have been a scene of Vegeta reacting and they just cut it out and I retweeted it for those of you who follow me on Twitter. I forgot who was the original poster, but apparently the actual original airing of the episode on Fuji TV in Japan, there was a whole minute of the episode of 109 that was cut on Crunchyroll. And the one that I watched was on GoGo Anime, but they probably took the version from Crunchyroll because I don't remember seeing that last minute clip either. And it wasn't really that much. Some people who were getting super butthurt about it, it wasn't really that much that they showed. Basically, in a nutshell, what it was more an extensive reaction to Goku getting hit by the Spirit Bomb. Because basically, the way that 109 ends is that Goku kind of gets hit by the Spirit Bomb, and they don't show you what happens, and then the credits roll. But in the episode on Fuji TV, it showed Goku. It kind of showed more of an altercation between. It showed Jiren actually like power up and like put some force into pushing the Spirit Bomb, like almost like Goku put up more of a fight. And there was even a scene where it showed Vegeta yelling like Goku or don't get hit. So the fact that that part was cut out, what else was cut out? Like that didn't maybe even show up on Fuji TV. That just goes to show that there is stuff that they animate that doesn't make it into the final cut of the episode, which as much as Dragon Ball Super likes to drag shit out, for them to have not taken advantage of an excuse to add an extra minute of stuff that they've worked on in an episode is beyond me. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. So maybe there was a scene where Vegeta, because that's how it felt, honestly, watching this show. It did feel like, not a lot, but it did feel like there were some scenes that were just kind of missing. I don't know. But I feel like those scenes are important, though. Like, you know, you can have a movie that has completely different cuts that can redo it, you know, so.
Yeah, you know what, I don't know, I could point out things for days that I didn't like about this episode. Yeah, the fight was great, the animation was crisp on 3 different parts. Just 3 because the fight really wasn't that well animated.
That's another
and then
thing too. Yeah,
like
that's another thing.
Then there was this one frame. Hold on, let me see if I can find it and I'll put it in the chat for people to see. There was this one frame where after they were fighting, Jiren like throws his hands up and he just looks like a figure, like a fucking stick figure. And it's like, okay, I get it. You can't animate the entire episode. Then there was a couple of like pieces of frames where Dispo's missing his eyes, and then there was one where Jiren was looking mad fresh. Like you would assume it was a completely different studio that made this. Hold on, let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, that one scene where he looked like extra alien and shit, and his eyes were super thin.
Bro, I was like
looking at that screenshot, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, that looks dope." That looked weird to me. I was like, "What the fuck is going on with this?"
I was like, "When did they put my nigga Gray Matter in here from Ben 10? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what the hell?"
Hold on. I'm also glad, and I might do this from now on, depending on what it is I'm live reacting to. And I still get these comments. Like, I got these comments where it's like, "Man, when are we gonna get a guy who live reacts to an episode actually as it airs or watch it for the first time?" And I don't really need to respond to comments like that because now, since I live stream the live reaction, you see that this shit is all raw. You see that I'm not talking the whole fucking time. So for those of you who were there for the live reaction, for the live stream version of it, which I've never got a live stream with that many views. I was getting Etika views in that live stream day because I live streamed the moment the episode aired, and because Crunchyroll and Funimation had crashed, I had just downloaded the torrent version and was streaming it on my thing right there. And then I did the same thing I did with Neo Yokio, and I put a GIF over the thing so I wouldn't get copyrighted or whatnot, which probably still wouldn't have happened. Since
man, that must be nice. That must be nice.
But yeah, so for all the people who were at that live stream, though, they saw that basically how the system works when I react to something is I watch the whole thing, I react to it like a normal person, and then I edit only the commentary because obviously that's the only way you can get away with uploading stuff onto YouTube without getting copyrights. So, but yeah, as for like the animation, honestly,
people don't know that, man.
There were some scenes, like you said, Jay, where the animation was pretty dope, but overall, the animation wasn't really exceptional for this episode.
Take a look at the chat, and I posted several pictures. There's that one really good one of Jiren, and then there's the rest where Jiren looks like he's built like a fucking potato. Then there's another one where he like throws his hands up. He's like, "Goku, don't hit me in the face!" Like. This shit is just fucking hilarious, man. Like,
so also, okay, so like I've seen these comments where, I mean, I wasn't the one who said this, but I've been seeing these comments of people saying that they were brought to watch this episode because they were told that if they are a little bit on the fence about Dragon Ball Super, this episode would change their mind. I don't think that's the case. I don't feel like this episode would change your mind about the series because it's at the end of the day just one episode. Now, if what I've been saying too is that let's see what they go from here after this episode. They've built up the hype. They've got my attention now. I'm sure there's some people who weren't really paying attention to the show because the Tournament of Power has been trashed to this point, who they've got their attention as well. So let's see if they can hold that momentum or if it's going to go back and deteriorate to the quality it was before this transformation. I don't think that if you were honest about the show that this would change your mind. I would say that it has potential. Like, this was a dope episode, but as I always say, and this is why a lot of people don't like what I say about One Piece or Naruto Shippuden, because there are people who think that the show is really good, but they don't act like, and same with Dragon Ball Super actually, they don't act like the filler contributes to a judgment of a show. And I'm like, you can't say Shippuden is good and pretend like, oh, that filler doesn't exist. So like, oh, well, that was filler. Well, it may be filler to the manga, but it's canon to the anime, so it's all still part of the show. Right. So you have to treat it as its whole product. We don't need to talk about this. We've had this conversation like 5 times, Jay. We've talked about why GT is on the same level as Super because GT doesn't have as much filler bullshit that Super has, and that if you were to take out all the filler from Dragon Ball Super, it would be superior to GT. Like, you can't pretend like those rehashed movie arcs
and the first two arcs being movie arcs. So there's really only 3 arcs of Dragon Ball Super entirely.
Really, and it was funny too because they actually changed this, but I remember when they first put Dragon Ball Super on Crunchyroll, it actually started with a Future Trunks arc. It didn't even cover the first 2 arcs because, like, we don't really need those arcs. They should have just reanimated the movies. Just like, they're clearly not above copy and pasting keyframes, so I don't see why they couldn't have just done that. But I will say, like, basically, so here's where Dragon Ball Super really starts, right? Dragon Ball Super starts with the Universe 6 tournament exhibition match, and then you can skip everything up until the Future Trunks arc, and then just watch the movies. There are going to be a few inconsistencies in terms of the plot, but they're not so inconsistent that you're going to be lost. You got a gist of the idea of what's going on. And then after the Future Trunks arc, then skip to the fight, which I've live reacted all the most important episodes. So you can kind of go through my live reactions and figure out which episodes are important. You could skip to the part where Goku hires Hit to assassinate him because that was a pretty dope fight. And then you just skip to the,
hey man, according to me,
what happens next? I guess that is it.
You can skip the whole thing.
But yeah, so also, the thing about Dragon Ball Super is it's kind of like One Piece, because One Piece is the same thing Dragon Ball Super does, and it's the same studio, which is understandable, is that One Piece has dope moments, but it's spread out by so much bullshit. Like, whenever I'm talking to like hardcore One Piece fans, like, they're always saying, like, I was talking to my friend
Super
Tess
triggered,
and she was trying to defend One Piece so hard about how, you know, it's so dope. How do you not like One Piece? And I was telling her, I'm like, okay, listen, I understand that One Piece has its moments, but at the same time, there's just so much bullshit. Like, I'm on the Dressrosa arc, which is one of the like the arcs where they're Doflamingo. For those of you who don't know, it's like Dressrosa. He's like a dictator over this island.
That's a pink gay nigga.
Yeah, Doflamingo he's got the flamingo feather scarf and shit, and the Joker smile and shit. But yeah, so that arc is just drawn out so long, and there's just so much bullshit. But I just basically, when I get to an anime like that where there's dope moments, but there's a lot of bullshit in between, I just do the Crunchyroll ×10 skip until I get to the good shit. So that's basically what I do. But with Dragon Ball Super, I started to notice that with their like animation, for example, it's kind of like, and once again, it's like you kind of accepted this just that it is. And I've also noticed that it's not even sometimes that the animation isn't as good. It's just, I think it's their art style. Like, I feel like they just animate certain things differently than the original Dragon Ball Z, and people are expecting what the original Dragon Ball Z does. But when you really pay attention to it, it's not better or worse animation. It's just a different art style or a different choice of animating certain things. Because
hey man, I don't know.
Okay, here's an example, Jay. One of the most notorious things that the original Dragon Ball Z would do is, like, you know, when they're and they had some of these, and they were actually better animated in Dragon Ball Super and Dragon Ball Z when they showed these, but there weren't that many of them. And it's when they're, you know, when they're in the little punch clashes and stuff, and it's showing them go back and forth. If you actually go back, I think there is a certain veil of nostalgia that affects certain people's judgment. If you go back and look at some of these old Dragon Ball Z fights, when they're showing them doing those little punch barrages, they really are only alternating between a few keyframes over and over again. And Dragon Ball Super actually animates those scenes better. But then they have these scenes where like, and you've probably seen these. You see, Jay, where like Goku and Hit are fighting, and all it shows, you can't really see Hit's arm. It just shows like this red blurs kind of swinging around, like he's blocking the hits and stuff.
Right.
So when they do that, like One Punch Man does that as well. So it's not something that other good animated anime do. So it's not necessarily, and it's not that like they they did that because of their budget. That's just how they chose to animate those types of scenes.
Right. So you're giving them an excuse. I see what you're doing here.
No. Dragon Ball Super has shitty animation, but in these 2 episodes, the animation wasn't bad, and in the parts that looked like they were bad, it wasn't bad animation. It was just like I've started to notice that in some cases Dragon Ball Super's animation is just different from Dragon Ball Z, so people are looking for Dragon Ball Z type animation, and that's why it looks worse to them. But there's definitely moments where, and obviously, you know, the copy and pasting of keyframes that Dragon Ball Super does. And the reason also why Dragon Ball Super, and you know, and I've said this before, is that just because I understand why Dragon Ball Super does this, it doesn't mean I'm going to pretend like they don't do it. But the reason why Dragon Ball Super has a bit more streamlined animation is because of how like consistently they make episodes, is that it's a weekly show. And the reason why they make the anime and they don't give it any breaks, they don't run it by seasons, they just are always airing episodes, is because Dragon Ball Z is so popular that the Dragon Ball fan base will continue to watch.
They gotta keep it. They gotta keep it going.
Make sure they don't ever take a break. But see, at least what they should do, which is fine by me, you know, and this seems like what they've done, is okay, you can have just, you know, even just passable animation for the majority of the show, but make sure you at least make sure to well animate the fights that matter. And with this fight, it looks like they didn't blow it in terms of animation for this episode. So if they're gonna just save the animation for the good episodes, I'm okay with that. I honestly am. I'll just skip all the episodes that are in between. So or I'll just skim through it like I do with One Piece episodes and shit. So so my overall impressions of the episode was that it was dope. I hope that it also gets better in future episodes. Like I hope that they continue this. So that's the thing, is that most of my critique on this episode wasn't that this episode in particular wasn't perfect. It's just that this episode in and of itself can't save the whole show. We need more episodes like this. So when I see this episode, I'm worried, because I'm like, okay, so now they've set the bar so high. Can they keep this momentum going?
I sincerely doubt it. I just think that it's just going to revert back to. I'm a
Dragon Ball fan. I like to see them continue to capitalize on it. I like to see Crunchyroll and Funimation crash more times over the hype for a show. So because that doesn't happen often. So I would hope that that's the case. So I'm gonna segue out of Dragon Ball Super into YouTube demonetization by saying, so for those of the people who
sending people to the shadow room.
For those of the people who wonder why my live reactions are just my commentary, it's because YouTube, well, with Dragon Ball Super, it doesn't seem like it happens often. I have gotten a copyright strike for a Dragon Ball Super video before, so I'm not going to even. I'm going to play it safe anyways and still do that. But basically, because I have gotten videos ID claimed by Toei Animation in the past, it just seems like sometimes it takes them longer than normal or whatnot. Or maybe it's like a manual situation, but that's why. And for those of you who were at the live stream, which I'm sure a lot of you were, you see how I actually live react to it and how the live reaction actually looks like. I mean, look, if you prefer to see a full live reaction, I can publish the live stream, the full live stream that I did. Of course, there's going to be a GIF over a transparent GIF over the entire clip. And there's going to be no audio, and there's going to be a big ass green screen, green shit in the background. So I mean, if that's what you prefer,
there you go.
But honestly, in my opinion, even if I could get away with doing live reactions unedited, I probably still wouldn't, because that's not content. That's like in fact, iDubbbz did a whole content cop on that about Jinx, about how he just has a whole channel of him just staring at a screen and live reacting, or Tyrone Magnus, you know, these niggas that they consider content.
They just still making those videos too, and it's working. So, shit.
Yeah, and so I'll use iDubbbz's content cop to segue over to how it's bullshit that his content cop is a #1 on trending, but it's a fucking not Game of Thrones, a Justice League trailer.
Oh boy, man, that shit was such a dope video. Jeffy, thank you for the subscription, my guy.
Let me read this off to you, Jay. How like it's like. Nigga, says who? Okay, this is how YouTube phrases, like they get this. You know, sometimes they have like a sentence to describe the trending video and whatnot. And this is how you know it's manual, because if trending was like how Twitter was and it was an organic thing, there wouldn't be descriptions or justifications for why it's trending. The algorithm would make it trending on its own, but YouTube manually selects. Trending page is such a fraud. It's not actually trending. Like I feel like you should call it something else. Call it featured, right? So the YouTube trending page is actually the featured page, not the trending page, because that's not what trending means. Because sometimes a video that's trending doesn't actually go on the trending page. The trending page is basically a featured page where advertisers can push their shit in front of your face in a more direct manner. Because the top trending video is this Justice League trailer, which, by the way, has been on YouTube for around 24 hours and has only had 6 million views, which I know some of you are saying, only 6 million views, that's a lot. But for something to be on trending, #1, to only get 6 million views, clearly niggas don't even care about this trailer. iDubbbz's video got more views in less time than this video got. And this video
in the first 24 hours, that shit was like gone. Like, so oh my lord.
Here's what they say, Jay, about this #1 trending. The highly anticipated first trailer that gathers the DC comic heroes is finally here. First of all, this is not the first Justice League trailer, so that's a fucking lie. Teaser, whatever, that's a fucking trailer as far as I'm concerned. It was a full-length trailer. And highly anticipated. Nobody was expecting another Justice League trailer. We already got our Justice League trailer.
Actually, this trailer, I watched it. It probably confused me more on what the fuck is going on in the movie compared to anything else. Like,
okay, it wasn't a bad trailer. It was like, oh, that was cool. But I feel like this trailer didn't provide us with more information, really. And this trailer didn't really do anything for me. In fact, like, I was waiting, because every trailer needs that one epic moment, you know, or that one, like, punch, that gut-wrenching moment. In fact, ironically, and this was on the trending page, which I feel like for a justifiable reason, but once again, advertisers probably just had it pushed to the front. But the Pacific Rim trailer with John Boyega in it, and I'm actually seeing a lot of criticism about this trailer, is because a lot of people are saying that, oh, it doesn't look like the original, looks like another Michael Bay movie or something like that. I don't understand.
I didn't see the trailer because I'm not really interested in Pacific Rim, but please continue.
Well, I mean, I watched the first one, but I mean, it was just a movie for me. I don't know why everyone's like, Pacific Rim made me nut all over the floor. It was just another movie to me. It was good, but it wasn't like, oh, you know, it wasn't like fucking fantastic.
Probably because there hasn't been like, I mean, there's been good movies that came out this year, but not like great movies, you know, like there's been a couple of good ones, and it feels kind of dry. Like, it's just, I don't know. Yeah, people are expecting like something great, so when you see a good trailer, it's just like, oh man, yeah, this movie's gonna be hype. And then when they go see it, there's just this was fucking.
And then
trash.
honestly, and like what people don't seem to realize is that when the first Pacific Rim trailer came out, nobody was like, oh, this is gonna be hype, or I like this tone. Or a lot of the people's complaints, which I feel like this is the one that I'll actually justify, is that it's not directed by the same person that made the first one great, which it was Guillermo del Toro. It's somebody else. But okay, so maybe not that. And another thing that I don't like is that everyone, like, I see a lot of complaints, and these complaints get upvoted. People always, and this seems like is always a thing, complain when rap music is in a trailer for a movie. And I honestly think that's just a.
But recycling 1970s rock songs is okay? Fuck out of here, white people.
Like, that fucking one song from the Star Trek, the Beastie Boys song.
Oh my god! And then whatchamacallit, Jumanji has "Welcome to the Jungle." Like what?
Yeah.
What? Why?
So that more sounds like you just don't like rap music. So, but like, and it's funny too. You know what the most ironic thing is? The biggest critic of movies and video games, Angry Joe Show, I watched his video and he liked the trailer. So, and it was like getting dislikes. So people were like, oh, Angry Joe, right? He's gonna rip it a new one. He's gonna criticize it like I do. And then he liked it because most of the people that are criticizing this are bandwagoning to other people's opinions. And Angry Joe only hates on something when it earns that hate. But the first movie was great. This movie's not even out yet. You know, let the movie come out and then judge it afterwards. But I saw the Pacific Rim trailer and I thought it was lit. Yeah, I did have like a feel. It kind of felt like it was like I was getting this like Transformers-y vibe where it was just like it was not so dark and gritty. It was more out in the daylight and more kind of like, you know, like, oh, happy, fun. Like it was more trying to be more of a fun a movie than a dark movie. It had a different tone. I can understand you just have a different opinion and tone, but I still think so. Okay, so here's the argument that I will settle for. Okay, if you feel like you're not gonna like Pacific Rim 2 because it doesn't have the same tone that the first one had, that's understandable. But to just say this is gonna be a universally worse movie, I'm not saying it won't, but based on that trailer, I didn't get that vibe. And what people don't seem to understand is that, and here's the problem with when something gets drove into the ground, is that it leaves a bitter, lasting taste in your mouth. But the first Transformers movie I actually thought was good. I liked the first Transformers movie. The problem with the Transformers movies is that they made so many that they're just beating a dead horse and they just keep reiterating the same storyline essentially, and that's what made it start to deteriorate over time. even with like the prequel trilogy for Star Wars, everybody liked it when they came out. All this criticism for them didn't come out until years later when I don't know who decided that they were now shitty, and all of these.
Hey man, I thought they were lit.
Fans, yeah,
all they were fucking amazing.
Fans bandwagoning it onto these opinions, like, so yeah, but like that trailer was on the trending page, and that one was pretty dope, and I look forward to that. Like, I like that they took Vince Staples song and a Tupac song, and they combined them together. That was cool.
Yeah, that was dope. That was dope. I like it when that happens. Man, they should use more remixes for trailers now that I think about it.
Yeah, so I like that trailer. As for the Justice League one and then this Walking Dead one, it wasn't even a trailer. I don't know what the fuck this shit was. It was just a freaking cock tease or whatever the fuck.
It's just a teaser, bro. So, that's it. It's just a teaser.
Whatever,
so.
Like, I feel like sometimes some stuff is like you don't need any more trailers. Like, just save your budget and just finish your shit instead of just giving us.
See,
like,
that's what I was saying. Here's the segue that I just need to talk about for a second, because we'll come back to it later. That's what I've been ranting about on Twitter this week. I was like, why is Ubisoft suddenly putting out 2 trailers a week for Assassin's Creed? Like,
hey,
holy
man,
shit!
For you though, right?
Yeah, it's great for me, but I can't keep up with it because now I like have to push back my regular content to make Assassin's Creed videos. And I just saw a leak for the live action one that's coming out tomorrow, I think, or Tuesday. And it looks it looks beautiful. Like, it looks great. Like, I love when they make trailers.
I don't care about those.
I love when they make trailers because it's like, yeah, this is dope. This would get me hype, except for when I'm talking shit about them and it's like, this trailer was pointless. But I mean, I'm kind of mad that it's just like, all right, why are you guys just suddenly now putting out all these trailers? And I thought about it. I was like, if the game comes out in a week and a half, and they just like let it be dry all summer, right? They just let everybody have, you know, they let Destiny have they didn't want to have to compete with Destiny trailers, basically. And they didn't want to have to compete with all of the, you know, other games coming out, Mario Odyssey and stuff like that, but they don't run trailers. So they didn't want to have to compete with Nintendo don't need trailers. They got enough dick riders to pay the bills for the next 2,000 years. Right. So
the fucking Nintendo fans will monetize and advertise their shit for them, and then they'll copyright all their videos and take all the revenue.
Exactly. So, you know, it's just like, okay, I understand they thought there was going to be a lot more competition for games coming out November, October, and December, which is basically nothing. So this seems to be like the driest year in gaming we've had in a really long time. Like, so they decided to run multiple trailers since September and just, you know, give us a couple a week, and it just builds up subtle hype. And by the time you're done watching all of these trailers, you're like, yo, these trailers were dope, available now. And it's like, yo, I can buy this right now. I'm gonna act off of this hype, like, because it's not like they're bad trailers. Some of them are just a little, like, you know, I made a couple of videos where one of them was kind of lackluster, and it was like, all you needed was some actual gameplay in this trailer and it would have been dope. But I mean, you know, it's great and everything, and sometimes you just have too much. You have trailer overload, or trailer porn, as we like to call it. So it's just like, don't do too much, but don't do too much, but doing too little is like, why even fucking bother? Just don't.
Here's my question about the trailers, because one of the things, like, I've kind of feel like I've fallen off Assassin's Creed, which is kind of funny because Assassin's Creed 2 is my favorite video game of all time. But what I would like to know, which I don't know, I mean, it's like a mixed bag. Like, okay, so one of my main criticisms about Assassin's Creed trailers is that, like, when you would see like the previous trailers, they were always staged and they were always like making it look so epic, and a lot of stuff they showed wasn't even in the game. And so now it looks like they're doing the exact opposite, in that they don't have these staged trailers, but now the trailers are boring. It's not even a trailer. There aren't even gameplay trailers. It's just like, oh, just like, now they're not, like, I don't mind a script for your gameplay trailer. All games do this.
Because they just have these big open-ended pieces where it's just riding around on a horse, which is,
yeah, they just have some guy just get the controller and just run around and do shit, and it's just really unrefined. Like obviously, if my dumbass is playing the game, I'm going to be tripping, I'm going to be running into walls, it's not going to look, because I don't know. But I respect those like E3 demos where they have a trailer and they've gone through this mission like hundreds of times, so they know how to do it. They know how to finesse it perfectly. So when they go through the trailer, it looks really smooth. Obviously, no actual person's gonna play the game this perfectly on their first try, but it's a showcase, so it's meant to look like that. What I didn't like about Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed trailers was that it wasn't the exaggeration, it was the false representation. Like when they would show Connor go in and he would shoot this barrel of gas in Assassin's Creed 3, and it would blow up, and everybody would be like, whoa, what the fuck? And he would run around, and then he would get a guy, block the bullets, and then he would run around and do a musket air assassination. But that shit wouldn't work, because the moment you shoot a barrel, everybody has Byakugans, and they instantly see where you are.
Right.
And they're all firing at you with perfect accuracy, and then you try to go run and air assassinate the guy and grab the musket or whatever. But like, that's never the case. There's never a guy where there's like a laid out, like, there's a few missions that do this, but there's never really, you can't just run up and like, oh, grab a musket and air assassinate. Like, I like, a lot of games, they have like these moments that like, they set you up to do some dope shit, like Hitman, for example. Like, they get, like, you can see, oh, I can do this shit. Like, oh, he's standing right there. I can sprint down this path, grab this musket, and I can kill him from here. You know, like, there's different laid out areas. But Assassin's Creed 3 wasn't like that. It was a clusterfuck. There was no opportunity to do any of the dope shit that they had. Or like in Assassin's Creed 2's trailer, where they showed Ezio do the bench assassination. And that shit looked really dope. But niggas never be walking by benches in this game, so you never really get the chance to do that.
I've done it before, just not in Assassin's Creed 2.
Well, I've done Assassin's Creed 2, but like, there were only very specific moments. Or what you had to do is basically, you had to cause some ruckus, go sit on a bench, and a guard's gonna walk up, hey, what are you doing? And then you just kill him on the bench and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I like Assassin's Creed 3, which I'm pretty sure Unity stopped doing this for some reason, which I don't know why. But Assassin's Creed 3 had a function where you could whistle from the bench and bring people over, and that was dope. And then you could even do either a low-profile assassination, where it would just do like the stealth version, or you could do a high-profile one, which I don't know why the fuck you would do this, but it was just funny. Like, kind of like in like some games like Resident Evil or Last of Us, where you could choose to slowly open a door. You could just kick that bitch open.
Yep.
That's like, you can do like a high-profile assassination where you're sitting on a bench or you're leaning against the wall, and he's like, fuck this nigga, and just slam his face against the wall and shit. So that was pretty dope. And they just stopped doing that in Unity. I never played Syndicate, so, but
they do it. A lot of that stuff is in Black Flag. So, like, I just kind of want to address this, because I feel like people definitely need to know, because it's really important. This is not the same Assassin's Creed Syndicate. This is not Assassin's Creed Unity. This is not Assassin's Creed Rogue. Okay, this is Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It's the entire team behind Assassin's Creed Black Flag. So the game is, I can't say it's completely different, because obviously it's still Assassin's Creed, but there's just so many different nuances for this game that have built on top of the structure of the working, fully functional game, the fully hype-driven Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which debatably is the funnest Assassin's Creed in the entire series. But, you know, I digress. There's a lot of things that are in the game that they don't want to show off, because I was talking to the game director, Ashraf Ismail. So I was asking Ash, I was like, okay, where do you think your game stacks up against the rest of the Assassin's Creed games? And he was like, well, if you're talking about Black Flag, it's clearly in the top 3, which I agree with. And he was like, Origins, on the other hand, seems to compete very heavily with Assassin's Creed 4, which I'm okay with. If it competes with Assassin's Creed 4 and it keeps up with it, I'm fine with that. That's great. But there's also a lot of things that he also said, you know, because they've been called out so many times for staged gameplay, so now they have to do it the other way and overdo it and show so much live stuff that it's like, okay, we understand you're beating a dead horse on this, because he even referenced the demo for the past 3 demos for Far Cry 5. And there were certain points during the like stage demo where it's just walking through grass. And even through the trailer that they revealed, like, it's an extended gameplay trailer that they revealed at Gamescom, it's about 2 minutes of just walking through grass. Okay, I get it. I understand it. You want us to know that it is live gameplay. I get it. I get it. I get it. You are hammering the point home. But sometimes you need this scripted stuff. Sprinkle the scripted stuff in there.
Yeah, at least give us some of that stuff.
There's also, and he let me know this, there's also a very big issue with content creators right now with them, because they have certain content creators they'll bring in that are pre-approved and ones that are suggested by other people, you know, like their outreach people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some of them play the game well, some of them don't. Some of them are screamers, some of them are tacticians. So they really don't have like an idea. It's kind of almost like Nintendo. They don't know who they can properly back, so they just don't back anybody at this point. Like, it's like, oh, you're doing first party content? Nah, we slashing all that shit. You can't play none of these games because we don't approve of anybody anymore. So it's one of those things where they can't bring a YouTuber on because then you end up with the EA situation at E3 where you have vloggers presenting an EA game for some reason. I don't understand that.
No,
so
they could do what they did with Far Cry Primal, even though that game was trash. They could like just like bring in a bunch of people to play a bunch of YouTubers to play the game in their studio or whatever, and just have like their own cameras where they're recording all of their reactions, and then just compile a lot of the best moments that they experience while playing.
Yeah,
and make that own video.
That's that's something that you know, obviously you would do, but I feel like that might not be like the right thing for them to do, because then they have like the whole, oh, is our game good, is our game not good, and people talking shit early, because obviously it's an Assassin's Creed game. Assassin's Creed is such a high profile title that people are going automatically out of the gate first day, and I was telling people about this on Twitter. First day, you are going to have hundreds of people slandering this game without a doubt. Like, just going to social media, just slandering it, either A, without playing the game, or B, only playing the first 10 minutes of the game. So there's already just going to be numerous people trying to slander this game. Oh, it's another factory, you know, made Assassin's Creed, blah, 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 and all this other shit. But then 3 days after the game comes out, and people are playing it, they're like, whoa, this game is amazing. The same thing happened with Watch Dogs 2. 2 days after the game's launch, oh, it's a cookie cutter buggy mess, blah, 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 blah. But it got amazing reviews. It just didn't have good sales because the first game fucked so many people. So by the time
honestly,
people...
embargoing your game could be positive or negative, because... And honestly, I don't even feel like when you embargo it for the right reasons, it even works, because... Like, with a game like, well, I guess maybe it does. I don't know. Maybe these people do make money, but from the sounds of it, they don't. Like, when you have a game like Destiny 2, I feel like with Destiny 2, they probably could get away with it, which I think they have, is that once the game finally came out, a lot of people were like, yo, this game is trash. Or it's just like Destiny 1 DLC, but it's still got a lot of sales. And
delay the PC version for a month, so that way the PC players can't go ham on your game for it being trash. Console players, they're not gonna talk shit, because most console players obviously aren't like content creators or big people or anything like that. Like, they just have small, they don't have a whole lot of games to play. They're just a small voice. But when you get somebody in the PC community triggered, it hits all across the internet. Like, once PC people find out that your game is shit, you can forget about it. It's over like Hova, baby. Your game is not selling another motherfucking copy.
Destiny 1, where people would data mine the game and find all this locked content.
Exactly. That's why you gotta delay. You have to either throw your dick out on the table and let them see the bumps and all the hairs and shit, or you just delay it and let the console people just suck on the tip a little bit. They're like, yeah, it's pretty good. We gonna keep sucking this dick, you know, just because we ain't got nothing better to do. Like, but the PC people, they'll be like, nah.
They had that same embargo, and people quickly found out that that game was shit, and then
and Bethesda actually has the same exact problem. They did the exact same thing to me, which is why they gave me that copyright strike, because they didn't want anybody to know that their game was shit day one. They did it with Fallout. They did it with what the fuck was it? The Skyrim thing or whatever on the Switch. You know, they don't give out codes. They don't let people play the game early, because their games are usually unanimously across the board buggy on the first day, and like, they just don't finish games. So then they're just like, don't worry guys, there's a day one patch of 31 gigs, and it's like, wait, isn't that the size?
The whole game?
The whole game? Yeah, isn't that the size of your entire game? Well, yes, but it's a necessary patch. It's just real quick, you know, all you have to do is just preload your game and then wait 3.5 hours to play your fucking game. And by that time, you had bought the game already. So, fuck do we care? So, nobody gives a shit. So, I think this is going to be a great Assassin's Creed game. Just to, like, go back, I think it's going to be a great Assassin's Creed game only because of how, like, hard they are trying to make sure that it's not a shitty game. Like Ash was telling me, he feels the weight of the rest of his staff and the rest of like Ubisoft, because Watch Dogs 2 did a really good job of being a great game that came out at a shitty time because of its shitty predecessor. So really, like, that game set a precedent like, yo, maybe Ubisoft isn't fucking up anymore. Obviously the average person doesn't think that because they didn't pick up Watch Dogs 2, which was an amazing, phenomenal fucking game, but you wouldn't know unless you played it. And then so he's just so worried about, I really hope people love my fucking game, so that way, like, even if this is the last Assassin's Creed, which I'm not allowed to say if it is or it isn't, we all know it's not. But it's like, he wants to at least have his staple that he made these 2 amazing games, and like, he's responsible for putting Assassin's Creed not back on the map, but making people not think like that whole series is dog shit, because the first four games were amazing. Like, they just were. So, and then everything after that is like, what the fuck did we get, until you hit Black Flag and you're like, yo, this is lit. And so Origins is really just trying to put them back on the map. So I look forward to it. I don't think it's going to be a shitty game. And it can't, here's another thing that this is the last thing I'm going to say. It can't be any worse than Unity. Like, it just can't. Like, that's impossible. There's just...
I like how you finally know how I feel, because like, now that you started to play Unity, you see what I was talking about. For those of you who don't know, Jay, you want to tell them about how you try to get your stream to work and you couldn't because like... Or
oh, yeah. Because Assassin's Creed Unity is a piece of shit.
Like,
oh my god, man. You know what? I tried to set up my stream to play Assassin's Creed Unity, and this probably was like the 3rd time I had already streamed it. And just trying to get the fucking settings to work. I was playing the game at low settings, I was playing the game at high settings, changing around how much bitrate I use, and just could not figure this fucking thing out, only to realize, yo, your CPU is just running a little heavy. Why don't you turn the fucking output down to 720? You know me, I'm over here trying to stream in 1240, 1080p, 4K type shit. Okay, first of all, Assassin's Creed Unity is not even supposed to be displayed in 360p, but I'm over here trying to stream it in 4K. What the fuck is wrong with me? That was the first thing.
I put the game on low settings and still wouldn't get to 60 frames, so fuck that game.
Yeah, so exactly. Like, if Assassin's Creed Unity, which kind of has a decent story, like, from what I'm playing and paying attention to, it's a decent story. Is it the worst Assassin's Creed? It's the worst I've played. But I mean, does that make it a bad game? No, the bugs make it a bad game. So the unplayability make it a bad game. Is the content bad? Nah, not really. It's about average. So you really just gotta hit like 4 out of 10. Like, if Assassin's Creed Origins isn't at least a 5 out of 10, it's like, you failed. Like, give up, throw the series out the window. It's over. It's done with. Fuck it. We're not doing this shit any fucking more. Just double down on Watch Dogs and Rabbids. And that's it. Let's go. It's time to go. That's it. So...
Alright, so, seeing as you finessed us into talking about Assassin's Creed, I don't know how that happened.
Hey, man, you finessed us into talking about Dragon Ball Super for 30 seconds longer than I wanted to.
Finesse. That was completely intentional, okay?
Listen, I could have just been like, I didn't see the episode, and then just sat here like...
Well, okay, well, let's talk about the YouTube thing. So,
man, motherfucking YouTube. Oh my
it's like a 3-pronged thing. So the first thing was the which, and I mean, we talked about this, like the demonetization of like types of different videos. But the thing that was interesting about this one, which is kind of something we already knew, that like YouTube prioritizes these sites, or these, like, you know, with how he was talking about with the trending page about putting stuff at the front. Like, this was kind of just a more blatant example of them not admitting it, but it's quite clear that they're doing it, in the sense that, like, so when Casey Neistat made his video about the Las Vegas shooting and how he was going to use the AdSense he made off of the video to go into disaster relief, he was going to make that a charitable donation to the people who were affected by it, and YouTube demonetized it, and he tweeted about it. And normally, you know, you wouldn't really get a direct response, but the fact that a verified YouTube account says that they don't monetize videos about tragedy regardless of the intent or who it is,
because of their policy. Their policy.
Right, their policies that everybody apparently applies by. But then Philip DeFranco showed Jimmy Kimmel making his monologue about the mass shooting and having a bunch of ads run on it. And so that was a clear example, display of hypocrisy by YouTube, which isn't new, but it's just, it doesn't make it less.
You know what that actually reminds me of is when H3 won that case, and they were just like under the matter of law, like like it's the same thing, under our policy, like bro. YouTube is
way,
in
as
some
you
fuck
talk
shit
about
right now.
H3, that's another thing too, and how he was talking about, which I was saying this, or someone else had mentioned this too, which I noticed as well. Like, and someone was saying, I forget, I left a comment on a video about this. I think it was Phil DeFranco's video. And someone was trying to like argue against it, and I don't remember what I said. But how all of the ads that were running on CNN's live stream of the live reporting of Las Vegas shooting were the ads that were boycotting YouTube for their controversial quote content. And really all it really was these advertisers knew what they were doing. They weren't like, oh, we can't put our ads on this stuff. They were more just like kind of boycotting YouTube because they knew that they could, if they all teamed up, they could get YouTube to basically like bend over and give them their shit. And that's why I'm kind of conflicted, honestly, because on one hand, I can understand like people are saying, you know, why are these other bigger companies getting priority or getting special treatment over the average creator? Because the whole thing about YouTube, in fact, H3H3 put out this funny tweet how like in 2007 it was like YouTube for creators by creators, and then YouTube 2017 is just
by creators.
Like, yeah, like YouTube is slowly becoming TV, which is kind of funny because the whole reason that people are gravitated so much towards YouTube is because it's not TV. But it's starting to seem like YouTube's trying to become the new television service. TV's starting to bleed into it, where all of the top channels are the Saturday Night Live show or the Tonight Show or trailers. Like, it's because TV is becoming obsolete. They have to hop over from somewhere. And so now it's they're starting to outbeat your average content creator, which is understandable, because what you have to understand is that, like, let's just think about the ad boycott, for example. All these advertisers are basically, I honestly, to give them, I think that there's multiple different fronts of people who are at fault. I think that YouTube just does a shitty job communicating with their audience. I think that's their main issue. But I don't think that the actual situation in it itself is their fault, because all these advertisers that are getting this higher priority over these average creators, they are paying YouTube to do these things. So it's kind of like, in a way, the creators are benefiting from it as well, because you figure all these advertisers, they can boycott YouTube until they change their policies, because they're the ones paying YouTube, which are who the ones are paying us. So really, these creators, these companies like Coca-Cola and Pepsi that are boycotting, and we're the ones that were actually indirectly paying us as well. So you can't
now
say,
it's just Ty Lopez.
Yeah, now it's just Ty Lopez, because his ads are all that ever show up in my videos now.
Right.
But you can't just say that YouTube is giving them special treatment when it's like, but if these companies, if YouTube loses a few companies, they basically have to choose the lesser evil. It's like it's a lose-lose situation, and they have to choose which one gives them the worst loss. Either they have all their advertisers boycott their site because they're not bending to their policies, and then they don't make any money, and then even the creators aren't making any money, and everybody loses except for the advertisers, which
just getting fucked across the board, man.
I feel like maybe YouTube could have, which I like, obviously, but YouTube's not trying to do all this, but I feel like if, like, the boycott was only temporary because there's so much money in YouTube, I feel like the advertisers, if they didn't think that this boycott would work, they wouldn't have even attempted it in the first place. But they could afford to do it better than YouTube, I guess. But if a bunch of YouTubers have outrage, right, and you know, they're like, oh, we're gonna like you, in which they would never do, but because the ads can afford to boycott YouTube, but YouTubers can afford to boycott YouTube because YouTube is their living, basically.
Yeah.
So, but let's say if YouTubers do boycott YouTube, it's like, well, you were making money off of these creators, but like there's so many, like there's no single YouTuber or a single group of YouTubers that are making them the most money. Honestly, YouTube's probably getting the most of their money through the advertisers. So really, they probably could afford, which it sucks. I know it's not fair. It's like I say about everything. It's like, it's not the ideal thing. It's like, yeah, like I wouldn't want Dragon Ball Super's animation to be shitty, right? I wouldn't want YouTube to prefer advertisers over creators. But at the end of the day, the advertisers are the ones who are putting out more. So it's like, well, what YouTube's basically saying that we can afford to lose a few creators and keep our business running, and to lose a few advertisers and then have an intense drop in revenue. So I understand like where YouTube is coming from, but the problem with YouTube doesn't lie in their business practices explicitly, but how they communicate that and try to lie about it to their audience. It's like with YouTube and their creators, we understand certain things you have to do to stay afloat. We understand that. We understand adjusting YouTube's content policy.
Yeah, sometimes instead of sucking that YouTube dick, you gotta stroke it a little bit, man. You know, you gotta...
Right, so we can understand that your policy might cause certain videos to get flagged, and might cause some things to fuck up or whatever. But at the same time, though, it's like, at least communicate with this to us so we at least know what to do. Like that conversation that we had, like that hour-long, 2-hour-long conversation we had with Afro in the Discord the other day about when he posted that doc about, I don't know who sent it to him, but all these different words that can set a red flag for the copyright or the content ID, not advertiser friendly stuff.
Right.
Well, YouTube could have given that to everybody, but since people don't know which words to look out for, they don't. It's like people are getting their videos marked as not advertiser friendly, but not told why, so they can't even make an action to fix it if they wanted to.
Exactly.
That's YouTube's problem. Not necessarily what they're doing, but how they communicate what they're doing to their audience. So it's like, what am I expected to do? How am I supposed to know what I'm allowed to do when you don't tell me what I'm not allowed to do? Instead, you punish me and then make me troubleshoot and try to figure it out. And by then, you know, for some of these creators, as you were mentioning, Jay, they're out of money by then, right? All their videos are no longer are like, so now you actually have some YouTubers that are quitting. They can't even make videos anymore because they can't afford to, because all their videos are getting demonetized. So now for me, I honestly believe this, Jay. I honestly believe that, because this isn't something that happens over time. I honestly feel like when all these channels were hit by a wave, it happened all at once. You get some channels who are saying that, you know, oh, I just got hit by the demonetization, right? I don't think there's people who are just now getting hit. I think they're just now noticing. Yeah. Because YouTube has this, which my channel doesn't have this yet either, but probably because there aren't any on there. But like, there's this feature that like the 4 Heavenly Kings channel does have this, and the 4 Heavenly Kings channel, the one channel that this channel that you guys are on right now, this, like, yeah, a bunch of videos, almost all the videos were demonetized on this channel. So this channel was affected by that. But of course, this channel was making dirt cheap pennies anyway, so it didn't really fucking matter to me. But but like, so this channel has there's a feature. If I go into Video Manager, you can choose like where you view what videos. You can view videos that are you know, you can view videos that are monetized, videos that have copyright claims, videos that are not monetized, or videos that have limited ads running or whatnot. There's a limited ads option. My main channel doesn't have that limited ads option. I can't even view that, which it wouldn't matter anyways.
I can't.
I don't have any videos. I don't have any videos on my channel that have that. Like, I double check. I check this all the time. I go through and look and see if one day I get a bunch of yellow dollar signs on my channel, and I just haven't gotten that. And I honestly believe, Jay, that when my channel got terminated for those 2 months, and that's in that same period, it was when all of these demonetization waves were smacking everybody when they implemented the algorithm, and it seeped into everyone's channels. And so obviously, as people upload, you know, actively newer videos, those are subject to a more case-by-case basis. But I feel like what's mainly impacting people is their archives, their videos that they've had out for a while. Those are the videos that are getting demonetized. And so those are the videos that are hitting all these people. But my channel was terminated for so long that those videos for a 2-month period were like in a freaking nuke bunker, and weren't affected by those because they technically didn't exist. And then when I got my channel back, everyone's like, oh, my channel got demonetized, and I'm over here. And then you get these comments, how does Heavenly have all these titties in his thumbnails and his videos aren't demonetized? What the fuck is this? Right? I'm just like, listen, I ducked and took cover and I avoided that shit. I don't know what to tell you. But so yeah, so my channel hasn't been hit by that wave of demonetization. But even if it did, I feel like it still wouldn't affect me in the same way, because honestly, a lot of these channels that I'm saying that are affected by the demonetization in a great way are people who don't upload every day. Like, one of the YouTubers that I watch, he's an Overwatch channel, his name is McCreamy, and he was talking about how he's gonna have to start making sponsored videos to afford to even stay on YouTube, because he's making so much less than he was before. And the thing is that like, and this can be shown with my Heavenly Productions channel. When I had to start over, I was almost making, in fact, which I'm making more now on this channel than I did before it got terminated, but on my second channel, I was making more on that channel within a month than I was in my original channel, which had, you know, 90,000 subs at the time. And the reason for that is because I upload every day, and most of my revenue came from videos that I had just recently uploaded, and the other half, maybe even a third, was from my archive. So the thing is that for people, that's probably why Flip DeFranco isn't really worried about it, even though he also gets sponsors, but he uploads every day, so he's constantly getting new revenue. But a lot of these people, they just upload a few videos that get a lot of views, and they kind of just sit on that revenue, and then those are where they get their views from. So like, they don't upload that often, you know, like H3 probably has less than 50 videos on their channel or something like that, or whatever. But when you have people like Flip DeFranco uploads every day, this boy has thousands of videos on his channel. So obviously, you know, he doesn't have to worry about that. And even if his archive does get hit, just by the sheer number of videos he has, there's going to be a lot of videos that just don't get touched by it, you know? Even like channels like The Anime Man made a video about how he got a bunch of demonetized videos, but I don't think that would affect him that much, honestly. Like, because he makes so many fucking videos. And I understand that people are like, man, this sucks. Look at all these videos that got demonetized. But I honestly feel like a lot of these bigger channels that upload every day that get hit by demonetization, they upload so often. It's like you're probably not even gonna notice the impact in your views or in your revenue by these demonetization things that you're getting or whatnot. I honestly don't believe, like, which in the same that conversation that we had with Afro J, how he was saying like, oh yeah, Heavenly, I was wondering how your videos do, because like they take videos with a lot of like titties in it, they push those down in the recommendations or whatnot, which I don't know where you got that information from, but I don't think that's the case, because even though I honestly don't do that nearly as much as I used to, one of the examples that he was talking about, MXR Mods, the guy who makes all those Fallout and Skyrim mods, he was getting demonetized, but his videos weren't getting pushed down in the recommendations. So I'm not getting demonetized, so I don't have to worry about that. If I do start to get demonetized, that's a whole another beast in and of itself. But getting pushed down in the recommendations is one thing where it's like, whoa, well, okay, there's no way to monitor that, but I don't think that's a thing. So I'm not even gonna regard that. But I do think that, which I haven't like gotten any videos demonetized, but I started to do this in like preparation for it, I guess, the preemptive strike. I do kind of like, I don't like put like cuss words in my titles or my tags, my description anymore or whatnot. Or like, I'm very careful about what words I use, because there's no way, I honestly don't think there's a way, because, and for me, and of all people, for me, I'm amazing, as you guys know, at abusing YouTube's algorithm with my live reactions as an example of how people are just so baffled by how my live reactions are on my channel, whereas you also get these people who, which, I mean, I stop responding to these comments now, because like, they just don't understand, they're not a YouTuber, how it's just like, man, oh my god, you talked the whole time. Like, if I didn't talk the whole time, then YouTube would detect the sound from the episode, and it would be audio detection by YouTube's algorithm. So I have to physically talk over the whole thing. Even if I just cut the clips, right? If I'm just watching the clips and not commentating on it, like YouTube will detect after a certain amount of time just the music being played or voices, and then that will be audio visual content as well, and the video will get blocked, and I'll get a copyright strike or something like that. So
then you're
I
fucked.
do take an extensive effort. Wait, what were you gonna say?
I said, nigga, then you're fucked.
Right, exactly. Then I'm fucked. So I do take an extensive effort to commentate more, to commentate over the episode, so that I don't get copyrighted. And of course, I'm going to try to talk over the best parts, because those are the parts that I want to use in the episode. So it's either that or no live reaction at all, you know. So I'd rather get a few people complaining that I talk too much than not be able to make the video at all. And then, and as I said earlier in this stream, for those of you who weren't here, those who were on my live stream see that I was not commentating the whole time. In fact, I was live streaming for over an hour and a half and condensed it down to a 10-minute video. So that's 10 minutes of commentary over the course of 90 minutes. So you know I wasn't talking the whole time. But like, that's why I think that me live streaming was a good way of like kind of like, I don't have to necessarily explain myself, because there's physical evidence. Thousands of people saw how the process works. And also it's all a little bit on my part. I have to understand that, you know, that's like 5 comments out of the 500 comments on that video.
Right,
so
right.
It's not a majority by any means. But yeah, so for the demonetization thing, if for whatever reason I start getting hit by those, then it might not affect me so much because I have a smaller channel. But I don't really see it that way though, because I see other channels that are smaller that they're affected by it like in full force. So I don't know if it's maybe because my channel got taken down, or maybe it's because of the kind of content that I make. Like maybe anime content just gets an exception, right? Like I honestly feel like videos like, oh, if I just had regular tits in my thumbnail, then maybe YouTube would detect that somehow, or I don't know. But
so it's a little it's a little harder with animated breasts. It's a little,
right, I mean,
it's a little
like,
bit more
if I
difficult.
decide to put Chun-Li in my thumbnail, it's not my fault Capcom designed her to look like a hoe and give her a fat ass and titties. That's just how the character looks. You're gonna claim me for that, right? So so yeah, there's that aspect of it. And I honestly just feel like, and like I was gonna say before, I don't think YouTube has a way to detect what you say in a video or what you put in your thumbnail. That's all manual detection. So somebody who watched your video had to flag that, or YouTube had to find that themselves. YouTube's algorithm can only work with code, text, which means titles, thumbnails, and tags. If you're not putting anything suspect in any of those 3 categories, they're not going to be able to detect automatically shit through your video. That's gonna have to be manual, in which case, once you become a bigger YouTuber, like with Casey Neistat, and you have a large view count, and you're exposed, and a lot of people can see your videos, then yeah, then I can see the demonetization thing would have to be more, it would be a bigger issue to deal with. But then in that circumstance, though, it would still all be manual. It's the automated shit that you don't want to get hit by. The manual stuff you can work with, because the manual stuff, no one's
it's got a person attached to it at that point. Like,
right, no one's gonna manually flag hundreds of your videos and demonetize them, because that's physically impossible. They couldn't do that if they tried. But the
I don't know. YouTube heroes can click multiple videos all at one time.
They can click pretty fast. In fact, that's how I got my channel taken down in the first place, was having to get a bunch of my videos falsely flagged, which are all up now, by the way. So yeah, they can definitely do some damage in terms of like community guidelines and stuff. That's why even me, I have to tone my stuff down, because even if they aren't violating guidelines, even if they look like they're violating guidelines, that's all it takes. That's why, for those of you who are wondering, I changed my thumbnail in a video that I had, because and I showed you, Jay, about the video that had Sakura and Sarada in it.
There was just too much. There was just too much breastises.
Was covering up Sarada's face, and it looked like she was sucking on Sakura's tit from a distance. And I've gone through too many instances of getting community guideline strikes for stuff that looks like they're violating guidelines, because a girl has white panties on and it looks like she's got no panties on, because she's like with 2B, this bitch is albino as fuck and got a white panty or whatever, so it looks like she's just butt naked in some instances. So that's why I changed that thumbnail, because it's not just straight up hentai on my thumbnail. If somebody takes a quick glance at it and they think that, then that's the case. So like that was the main, like another example that was with that podcast was like, Mia Khalifa likes hentai, or like, oh, Mia Khalifa's in the title, hentai's in the title. There's a chick with her mouth open ready to receive, and there's Mia Khalifa in the thumbnail. So they just automatically flagged that video. But then obviously that video got reinstated, and that's when got my channel back. That video and the other video that got taken down. And then when I went and looked through that video, it was just straight up Overwatch gameplay, which is proof that they didn't watch the fucking video. They just flagged it off the title and the thumbnail. And you could complain all day about the injustices.
Just like the same people. It's funny. Now that I really like think about it, it's the exact same thing with the people who don't watch the video and they just read the title and they go straight to the comment section. That's it. They'll be like,
exactly.
fuck you, fuck this video, da 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 da.
YouTube themselves do the same thing. Yeah, it's the same way. Yeah, I know.
So,
like, in fact, let me see. There was a video that I uploaded recently that was like that. Obviously, you know, all the time I would get these videos, or I would get these comments about the video that, like, I mentioned this in the video, you just didn't get that far, or whatnot. Or maybe I state a certain opinion at the beginning, but then I state the other half of that opinion in the second half of the video, but they don't make it that far. Oh yeah, okay, I remember this. And now this was a clickbaity video, so I wouldn't mind getting complaints about the legitimate clickbait that I use. But one of the complaints that I got, and it was just one comment once again, so this is not the majority, I have to stress that because I may make it seem that way, but I got this comment of this guy complaining that in my Storm 4 video, he said, oh man, he says in the title, this character is impossible to beat, then he wins his first game. I'm like, well, if you've watched the rest of the fucking video, then you can see that it was in the second half of the video where I couldn't beat the character. So, but you know, like, that's like how you were saying, Jay. It's just like, and this doesn't surprise me at this point. Now it's just like, and I've learned that if a video gets a shit ton of views, like with this Dragon Ball Super live reaction, I'm going to get hate comments. It's just, it comes with the territory. When you upload a video and you get a lot of views, when you become a bigger content creator, you're just gonna get unprecedented hate for no fucking reason. So you just have to understand that you're not going, and I've said this from when I started my channel. In fact, that's what made my channel what it is today, because when I first started, I was just making very general content trying to please everybody. But then I eventually got to the point, I'm like, no, fuck everybody. I don't need to please everybody. I just need to please the people that
that's faggotry.
Know what I'm about. So yeah, so then I stopped trying to please everybody. I just made content the way I wanted to make content, and then I only wanted to attract. I don't need everybody in the world sub to me. Only the people who fuck with my shit. So I basically made my content cater towards the audience that would fuck with the kind of stuff that I make. So and for that very reason, I'm gonna get people who are gonna get triggered and they're gonna false flag my videos because they're out to get me for whatever reason, because they have nothing better to do with their lives but leave comments in my videos and hate on them, which is fine. You know, that's more AdSense for me, but. So yeah, so you're always going to get those types of comments. You're not going to please everybody, no matter who you are. In fact, I feel like, and I didn't really notice this because I didn't pay attention to it other than outside of my channel, but you know who I think is really good at handling hate or rather not handling it is Etika. Like, because Etika is the kind of guy where you never really hear him talk about those types of things. You never really hear him commentate on it. And when I actually looked through his videos, he gets just as much bullshit comments as I do, and obviously since he's a bigger channel, he gets way more. And Etika doesn't really make controversial content. He's for the most part a straight up Nintendo fanboy. When you go to his channel, all you expect is Nintendo dick riding. You're not expecting for him to hate really that much.
Shoot, that's exactly what I get.
I can understand people hating on my channel when they come and I'm talking about Dragon Ball Super and I say it sucks, but for the most part, I mean, he has some criticism, but for the most part, Etika is talking good things about Nintendo, so you wouldn't expect to go to his channel and get mad because you know what you have in store for you. But he gets the same amount of hate and things of that nature. And I was like, since I follow both of them on Twitter, I saw this conversation that he had with Momo-kun, where she does this thing a lot where she kind of vents on Twitter about people criticizing her for her weight or for her being
man, yo, did you see the Twitter thread between her and Low Tier God?
Oh, Low Tier?
No, I didn't.
Yo!
So before you get to that, let me finish what I was saying so I don't fucking forget. Okay, people saying, oh man, you're like, just her promiscuity or whatever with the with her cosplays or whatever and whatnot. And Etika was saying this thing. He basically said this thing where he was like, oh man, like you're like, you in fact, and it's like the same with like profanity or anything. It's like you give those people, the haters, power by acknowledging their existence. But the way you want to deteriorate their existence or their influence is don't even acknowledge them. Don't even pay attention to it. Don't even talk about it. And that was pretty powerful. I feel like that's probably what Etika does, is that he just doesn't talk about the hate, and it ceases to exist. And like honestly, if you see a comment you don't like, if you happen to come across it, it takes a few clicks to delete it, and then suddenly their channel their comment doesn't exist anymore, and you just eradicate it.
Right.
So now you can talk about whatever the fuck you were going to say. What?
Shit. Well, I wanted to piggyback off of that, but then I almost forgot what the fuck I had to say. Yeah,
you said Momo-kun and Low Tier God or whoever the fuck that is.
First of all, we don't. Low Tier God is not fodder. I just want to let you know that he's not fodder. He's a real ass goon.
I didn't say he was fodder. I don't even know who you're talking about.
This nigga went in on her on Twitter because she had posted some shit, and all he wrote was thought. That's it. And she tried to go in on this man, and then he ended up making a video. Hold on. Let me actually send you this video real quick, because you should watch this on stream. This shit is fucking hilarious. So he starts going in on her like, I don't know why the fuck you're triggering all these little boys thinking they can come and fuck you and all this other shit, and by just hoeing around all the time on fucking on the internet and shit, and then you're just basically like giving them this like false hope type of situation. I'm trying to find, where is this video? Where the fuck is it? And then he just went after all female cosplayers. He was just like, these bitches portray themselves as, yes, I'm gonna fuck my fans type of shit. Like, yeah, let me see. He was just going in on her on Twitter. This shit was fucking hilarious. Like, then of course, obviously,
she seems like somebody who is like, she's somewhat like sensitive to criticism, which
she sure does give that shit a lot of power. Like, she just lets that shit affect her. Like,
and like, I mean, I'm a fan of her. Obviously, I donate to her Patreon and stuff. But I feel like yeah, she needs to not indulge in that. And okay, is it a Twitter video? Because I think I found his channel. And you said he's not fodder, but he only has 16K subs, so he kind of is fodder. But I don't see...
He's part of the FGC. He's not. He's kind of a big deal. So just because he only has 16K doesn't affect FGC. Like FGC, like the way they operate is like, yeah, you can have like that number shit doesn't apply the same way when you're in the FGC, because it's like if you're going up against like certain people who just have like 12 Twitter followers, but they're really good at Street Fighter and shit. They just don't participate on Twitter. They just don't do social media shit like that. I mean, he's only like...
But I'd understand that. But the way you make it sound is that he does participate in social media to even have this conversation. So does he have a large Twitter following? Because the way it works is that even if you're big in just gaming or something like that, you still get a following because you have people if you're a big deal, you have numbers somewhere. You can't just have numbers nowhere and be like.
Sometimes that's what's weird about it is like that's how. I mean, 100,000 is kind of a big deal. Like it really is. Like that's like I've explained to you. Like,
okay, 100,000 away. What are you talking about?
It's kind of difficult to explain because it's when you're definitely not explaining. Yeah, when you're looking at like I said, when you're looking at FGC stuff, it's like there are players who are like known. Like sometimes they're really good, like because of their social media following and things like that. Then you have other players that kind of put their money where their mouth is type of thing. Then you'll have other players who are just like low key, but they're like really, really good players. And it's like anytime you bring up these people in conversations, it's like, okay, you kind of can't say this person is like this or that or the other thing, because it just, I don't know. It's like I said, it's difficult to explain because I'm not in the FGC, and it's kind of one of those things where you hear a certain name, like whenever you hear people talk about like.
Must not be a big deal then if everyone associated with it has no.
All right, yeah, now you just sound fucking stupid, but it's really like. One of those things where, like, when you look at people like Daigo, like Daigo is a huge fucking player, like, but he doesn't have like.
I'm translating it. You're doing a terrible job of explaining.
What I'm saying is the FGC is the fighting game community. That is like the esports of fighting games. So how can you even say like you just to fix your mouth to say that shit just sounds fucking stupid. Like
if the FGC is, and I'm going off of what you're telling me. If the FGC is such a big deal, and there's people in the FGC that are a big deal, they will have a large following, whether it be on YouTube or Twitter. There's nobody who's a big deal, who's associated with something big, and has no following. You have people who work. I
just explained like you have people like Daigo who don't use social media at all. He only has like. Probably
he doesn't use social media, but this low tier god guy
probably like less. Yeah, he probably has less than this guy.
Social media. Okay, like, so don't use an example.
And he's a Korean player who just probably I think he only has like what 2, maybe 3, 4, 500, but he is one of the biggest Street. He's just one of the biggest Street Fighter players of like ever. So it doesn't make any sense when you say stupid shit like that. Just saying, just like it doesn't make any fucking sense. But it doesn't make any fucking sense. Whatever.
Okay, so the guy that you're saying that is the biggest follower. You say doesn't involve in social media, right? That's what
he doesn't. Yeah, he's not a huge social media guy.
So we're not talking about that nigga. I'm talking about this guy who is involving in social media.
All right. I mean, okay.
And he doesn't have a following. Okay.
I guess so. All right. According to you, he doesn't have a following. But all right.
That's like saying, oh, okay, oh, women's basketball. Oh, well, then basketball's not a big fucking deal. It's like I didn't bring up basketball. I was talking about women's basketball. You brought up basketball, so you're the one talking about the biggest dude or whatever.
All right.
I'm trying to find out who this low tier god nigga is, and you're not doing a good job of showing me.
I'm not, because if I was deeper into the FGC, hold on, let me see if I can get somebody in that knows, because I know Aaron Age knows him, like Aaron Age knows of him, like he's just one of these guys. It's just it makes sense if you understand.
Find me the FGC Twitter. Find me that.
Now you just sound so fucking stupid. Like you just it's not like
it has no social media.
You just sound like I could understand like because you don't know anything about it, it like makes sense for you to say the shit that you're saying. Like
you're saying I sound fucking stupid, but it's like if you can't explain it, you're fucking.
He just doesn't fucking get it. Like, oh, all right.
You're not explaining to me. You're just, oh, you're fucking stupid. That's like walking into a quantum.
Yeah, as soon as he was just like FGC Twitter, like, all right. He just
to show me, and then you're just like, oh, you're so fucking stupid. That's like walking into a math teacher's professor's class. Hey, teacher, can you explain this math problem to me?
I guess, bro, you can. I guess.
Me math, nigga. Why would I not expect to already know it? So that's what I'm asking.
All right, then.
I don't know what the FGC
cool.
is, so I'm asking you to show it to me. So don't be like I'm fucking stupid because I don't know. That's why I'm fucking asking.
Arrow, it's like exactly like you said. As soon as he was just like FGC Twitter, it's like all right. We get it.
Fighting game community.
I know what the fighting game community is. Do they have? Show me a Twitter that's associated with the FGC, whether it be whatever community, whoever hosts the professional games,
right?
whatever.
Anyone?
What's like if someone said show me some professional Twitters for like Call of Duty or for I would show you whatever like Evo or whatever, I don't fucking know. I would show you these professional Twitters for this stuff. That's what I'm asking you. I don't know what to ask for because I don't know what this shit is. So show me, tell me, educate me. Don't just call me a dumbass because I'm ill-informed when I'm asking to be informed.
Like I said, I don't
like that's no one's gonna hear what you have to say. You're gonna automatically put them down before they can't even get educated.
I mean, that's not always the case, but if you say so.
Well, I'm looking in the Discord. You have shown me nothing, so don't get mad at me for having no fucking because like this guy right here, the one example you showed me has no subs or views or shit, so he's irrelevant as far as I'm concerned. He's not a big deal to me, and that's why I'm trying to have you show me an example of why he's a big deal. Show me something somewhere, because the way that things work, if things are a big deal, they have views somewhere. It doesn't have to be YouTube. There are people who have a large Twitter following who aren't on YouTube, but they have a large following somewhere. Show me low tier god's Twitter. Show me whatever the fuck.
Daigo have?
I have not seen any of these things.
Oh yeah, he's even verified too. I forgot about that. Why does he have so many numbers in his name? Let me see. This guy has 904,000 followers. 904,000, and he's a fucking Street Fighter player.
Sure this is his, not
Show me someone 904,000 followers then, not a YouTuber with 16,000 subs, because that's all I see.
Oh, here, let me go ahead and post Daigo's Twitter in here. Here you go.
Like, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying show me. That's all I've been saying.
It's just one of those things where it's like, it's kind of hard to explain and give like full context to everything, so it's like you fully understand. It's like, oh, okay, like I get it.
900,000 followers, but so I can see you saying this guy's a big deal because he has 900,000 followers.
In the FGC,
where's Low Tier God's Twitter? Because you're the one. He's the one who.
Sent
it's a big deal. Like
it's almost like, I guess the best way I can explain it is like almost like a word of mouth type of situation where it's like you bring up certain people in certain conversations and it's like, okay, we understand you're talking about like this guy's a big deal, like we get it. But when you don't have that like understanding of it, it kind of makes it a little difficult to explain it in the first place, to even go down the line and explain it. You know what I mean? Like it just makes it difficult.
Here's how it breaks down. Unless the way that I'm interpreting it is that my definition and your definition of a big deal are different, because the way I see it, if something is a big deal, the thing that they either have a large following themselves or they are a part of something with a large following. Like you could say, oh, you know, Naomi Kyle's a big deal. She might not have a large following, but she is a host for IGN, and that's where her following comes from. But for this guy, it's just like, is he a part of some team that has a large following? Is he like part of some, like, is he featured on something with a large following? Because he doesn't have a large following. So that's why I'm like, well, show me these things. Yeah, I'm not gonna know what to call it because I don't fucking know what it is. That's why I'm asking to be told, instead of just like, oh, you're a fucking idiot for not even knowing, or for calling this stuff irrelevant. I'm not calling it irrelevant. I'm showing you the examples you're showing me are relevant. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not talking about this Korean nigga that has a bunch of followers. We're not talking about him. We're talking about this guy who you're saying is a big deal, who has no following anywhere. That's what I'm trying to find out here. These are the pieces I'm trying to connect. That is it. And I don't see that anywhere.
All right, then.
I get where he's trying to come from.
Yeah, I understand that, but what I'm saying is it's difficult to explain the entire thing when there's so many other pieces that are difficult to explain, to give you full context to even begin to explain. That's what I'm saying. So it's like without having a place to even start, it's like that's what make the whole thing difficult to explain.
So that's how I see it. If something was a big deal, it wouldn't be too complicated. I don't have to explain to somebody how big of a deal Casey Neistat is if they never heard of him or don't know who he is. I can just show them his YouTube channel and then they know what I'm talking about.
I mean, all right then. Yeah, every scenario and situation is a different situation. So
now that we've established that Low Tier God isn't a big deal, we can talk about this video, which does have a lot of views though. As I look at it. So what is the context of this video, Jay?
Shit, I forgot what the fuck we were talking about.
I forgot what the fuck we were
talking about.
I don't know. That title doesn't really tell me much. Don't stop falling for female cosplay. What's falling for female cosplay?
Anyway, so it'd probably just be easier to just give you the fucking Twitter thread, but I feel like that's kind of pointless. Like it's just a certain thing where it's like, you know what? It's not a big deal anymore. Fuck it. Who cares? Like, who fucking cares? Who fucking cares? Because I'm not even gonna. I just, yeah, after that whole thing, I just don't even have the fucking energy to even want to continue to go in on this. Because basically it's just like, he called her a thought. She admitted that she was a thought. Like, yeah, she sucked dick to get in the play. Like, she was just revealing so much shit, and it was just like,
whoa, wait, okay, see, no,
like I said, I don't have the fucking energy or want to give the fucking effort to even fucking explain it. I'll just give you the Twitter thread. You can read it however you want to fucking read it. Like,
and then you stop. So I'm asking you to continue. Who's sucking dick?
Like I said, like, you just basically you suck dick to get to the top, and then you act like you don't suck dick to get there. That's the full gist of it. Like, you know, somebody goes and they wanna suck dick to be a cool, big, popular cosplayer. Cool, that's on you, bitch. He doesn't appreciate that shit. He doesn't appreciate the fact that niggas be lying and shit, just thinking, oh yeah, I fuck my fans type of shit. But I mean, whatever. Like I said, I'll just give you the Twitter thread.
What Patreon tier is that?
I'll just give you the fucking Twitter thread, and if you want to read up on it, that's great. If you don't,
okay, well, like I said, okay, Jay, you watched this this video that he posted, right?
Yeah, I watched that video. I watched the response video. I watched the Twitter video, because that video he referenced in the Twitter thread. Because he had this problem with another cosplayer like a year ago, and it was the same exact thing. Like, he called her out, you know, you sucking dick for views and all this other shit, and trying to go to cons and sucking dick to go to cons and all this other shit, and you letting fans fuck and all. But this was a completely different girl who was letting fans fuck her. Like, this was just all sorts of weird shit. So, I mean, like I said, let me just go ahead and pull up the Twitter thread real quick. I'm going to go ahead and find this, like, because he was going in on her. And then she made a Twitter video that she ended up deleting because she was crying about some shit that he had said to her. And when I say, like, he's a big deal in the FGC, it's because he's a popular player amongst players. So then it's like, yeah, when you have the respect of big... It's basically like, think of it this way. If I'm friends with you... and friends with Rhymestyle, and friends with Afro, and friends with Shino Ben Trill, and friends with PewDiePie, and Casey Neistat, and it's like, all of these people know who I am, and it's like, I'm frequently brought up in conversations. Whenever I enter a room, people know who I am. It's like, yeah, I only got 800 followers on Twitter, but niggas everywhere know who the fuck I am. It's like that type of situation. Like it's word of mouth type of thing. When you walk into a room, everybody knows who the fuck you are. Like, you're a huge deal within this community that people just either they fuck with you or they don't fuck with you type of thing. Like, the numbers don't really necessarily reflect that.
What you're saying is that he is an established and respected person amongst the FGC community, is what you're saying.
Essentially, yes. And then, so that's why, like, certain things, it's like, yeah, you got, like, such a low following, but, like, when he does things, it, like, blows up amongst this community where it, like, shakes the entire community type of shit. Obviously, he's not the only person to do that. Like, then you have Maximilian, dude, like this guy, he's like, the guy, like, yeah, like,
so am I gonna have to watch this video, or is nobody gonna explain to me this?
Nah, like I said, it's not. I basically just gave you the gist of it. Like, he called her out on some shit. She started crying and making Twitter videos and going all on rants, and then just went back and deleted all that shit. It's like, it's such a huge thing that it had to do with the context of Momo at the time. So I was like, yeah, let me just bring this up, because she's kind of a stuck-up asshole. And then when I was talking to Vale and Eternal, who have been to cons and been to other things where she has been there, so they've met her personally and things like that, and they've talked to photographers who have worked with her. Apparently she's a huge cunt. You know, she never shows up on time. She has a bad attitude about everything. She's very stuck up. She feels like she's, you know, like, basically, like, she deserves more than she actually gets type of situation, you know what I mean? So she's basically a fucking asshole. And it's like, he called her out on that, and then the whole Twitter thread, it basically everything was just lining up to where it was just like, damn, like, that's all this is true, and it's just fucking nuts. So
here's my issue, is that
what's up, Lucid? What's going on, man?
I mean, it's kind of like, and I feel like this is just a girl thing. It's like all we just have to assume, like, I mean, it's like if you go out, it's kind of like if you go out and ask a girl just on the street, you suck dick, she's gonna be like, I don't suck dick. All girls, well, most girls, unless they like Victoria's Secret models or some shit, are sucking dick out here. They ain't getting.
Somebody, yeah, somebody giving some head out here.
So,
and then
these bitches out here lying too.
You know what's funny is, like, even in that context, like, as the, like, conversation was going on between these two, and, like, of course, once all the fans get in, all of her fans defending her, all of his fans going at each other, like it's just kind of like a bloodbath situation where you're kind of just looking at tweets and you're like, holy shit, there's so much raw shit going on right here. And then it's just fucking nuts. That's what it is. It's like watching a fucking circus get set on fire and explode all in just a spiraling.
Here's my thing, though. I don't understand, which I've said this before, why straight men are out here slut shaming. Like, you don't want a bunch of hoes walking around the streets right now, because I do. I don't know, except unless they're my sister, my mom, or my daughter. Everybody else could be a hoe.
You also got a lot of people out here thinking that, oh, if you're over the age of 15 and you watch cartoons or anime, you're a pervert, virgin, loser, all this other shit. So you have people with like different forms of thinking. Like have you seen that guy on Twitter? I know Arrow has seen him, because I've seen Arrow respond or like retweeted it a couple of times. There was some UFC fighter who was just like, oh yeah, if you watch anime or cartoons, anything animated like Disney and shit like that, and you're over the age of 15, you're a fucking child, loser, blah 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 blah. And you had people going in on him, like celebrities were going at this guy, and like fucking like other UFC fighters were like coming at this dude like, yo, I understand you're in the lightweight, you know, but if you were to get into a brawl with me, I'd beat the shit out of you, and blah blah blah. Like, this guy was just catching so much heat.
That's more of like a contemporary thing. Like, that's more of a generational thing. Like, some older people they understand. But what I'm saying is like,
the guy's in his 20s, so it's but as I was trying to reference, there's people who think certain ways, and he's one of those people who's just like, all right, you hoeing yourself out like to your fans and stuff like that, and not telling them that you suck dick to get where you are, basically, bitch. You're acting like I mean, she's acting high and mighty and shit like that. That's what it is.
I'm not saying that this is the case, but when I see guys out here calling people thoughts and all this other stuff, I'm like, are you salty that you're not getting these thoughts? Because me, for one, I'm not. Like, if a bitch want to go out and suck dick and do all these things, and the only way she continue to do that is that if nobody else knows about it, I'm fine with this, okay? I'll just let me slide into that page.
Here we go.
And we good to go, right?
I found somebody who screen capped some of the conversation, and this basically has like almost like exactly your reaction to it, because she responded the same way, where he called her a thought, and she was like, oh yeah, you mean somebody who doesn't get 20,000 views, I have more followers than them, all this other shit, and blah 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 blah. And people are trying to tell her like, bitch, he's a big deal. Like, they were trying to let her know, and she was just like trying to go in, and he ended up having her cry. Like, but he was responding not so much that, you know, she's a thought and hoeing for money. It's that she was demeaning other people for doing it.
Yeah,
like,
okay. That's
what he had a problem with.
Like, and I see, like, cause I can see Momo doing that. It seems what the real issue is not like that part necessarily, but that's the part where I don't agree. But I do feel like, then when like you take something, it's like, but if you're out doing something and then people accuse you of doing what you're doing, like, and then you get offended by it, then it's just like, I mean, just do what Jessica Nigri does, right? Every time someone says her tits are fake, which they are, she just either doesn't respond or says, no, they're real, you know. But don't be like, oh, bitch, I get more views than you. Now it's like, well, now you.
Yeah, but also you gotta think of the mentality of a fat girl. Fat girls feel the need to defend themselves, like to tell people that they're not
it's a
fat.
Girl thing. It's just like more girls are more insecure
than
guys. So
girls obviously, but then like there's no way, like you know, whenever you go to the mall, it's always the fat girl that's loudest. Like, always, like unanimously in a herd, in a pack of females, it's always the fat one that is the loudest, because she has to prove that she stands out more than the skinny bitches.
Yeah,
like,
they also suck the best dick too.
Bro, yes, they suck the bone, they suck the meat off that bone, bro. Like, they gotta work harder for that dick, bro. So they gotta get more techniques going. You know? Shit, the only dudes out here loving fat girls are African dudes. Anyway, so yeah,
it
was
with a Victoria's Secret model. She ain't sucking your dick. She don't got to.
It kind of like as I watched like this transpire, I kind of thought of Momo differently. I was just like, damn, like, she could have just said no and just like not have responded at all, but she broke down and like, yes, I did sleep with this guy to go to this con and blah 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 blah, and she was like just admitting all this shit. And then the Twitter videos with her crying and shit, and like basically saying, yeah, I try not to let, you know, the haters get to me. And I even sent her a message. I was like, why are you even acknowledging this? Because that just shows that, yeah, you do give them attention by making these blanket, oblivious Twitter videos talking about, oh yeah, I don't respond to hate and blah blah blah. Yes, you do, bitch. You're responding right now. You look hella stupid. And then I'm just like looking at it, and I'm like paying attention to the people that have worked with her, and obviously you can only believe half of what you see, none of what you hear type of situation. But it's like, it paints her in a bad light in my eyes, and it's like, kind of liked you. Like, I thought you were kind of cool. I mean, I'm not knocking your hustle or anything. You want to hoe cosplay, that's up to you. But I got to unfollow you on Twitter now. Like, it's just one of those moral things for me where it's like...
for me, that's not the case. And just because, mainly it's because I just, from my interaction with just girls in general, I've learned that if every situation like that for a girl made me be like, oh, no, I don't fuck with you now. Man, I would talk to no girls because they're all like that. Some are just better at hiding it than others. They all like women, and like even I talked to my sister, my mom about this. Like we were watching something, and like she's like, and like I forgot what we were watching a TV show movie. It's like, yeah, women are just evil people. Like it's just like a thing. Like they're like see, like, because guys are more direct and upfront with their you know, just like their emotions, their feelings. They're like, if they want to fight somebody or if they want to do something, they're gonna go out and start swinging and shit. But women are just like, they're schemers. They're like, I mean, we've watched Game of Thrones. Like, you know, they're the more deadly, honestly, than the men, because they out here seducing and poisoning and then all that intoxicating and shit. So and this isn't like, you know, like, oh man, that's mean to women. Women know this too. This isn't a secret. This isn't like a guy thing. Women know women are evil as well. Okay, so they all, like, that's why it doesn't really surprise me. It doesn't really throw me off. There's every cosplay hoe that I follow on Twitter or YouTube that I like, just like their Instagram or their Twitter or something like that. Every one of them has some shit where it's just like, well, that's scummy or that's fucked up or that's interesting, you know. But it's just like, if I let that stop me for every single one, then I would follow anything. And maybe that's why people like Low Tier God are out there just like, man, these are all thoughts, because that's not enough for him, you know. He's like, maybe he's like, I'm tired of all of these people with their boob jobs who aren't nerds dressing up like these characters, walking around and getting money and shit. But for me, I'm like, I don't care about those things. I don't care if cosplayers are sucking dick to go to cons. You know, all I care about is what do I need to do to be able to get cosplayers into cons so I can get my dick sucked. That's a bigger priority of mine. Really. I mean, it's not to call them out on their bullshit, but get involved in it. So
I guess, bro. It's just a moral difference. Like, I don't like that type of shit. It's just like, yeah, it's the same thing with like, just to bring it up, it's the same thing with like Agweg. Like, yeah, I don't like the guy personally. You know, the guy can sit on a fucking screwdriver penis and just rotate, but like, do I like his mods? Yeah. Do I like the fact that Momo shows her tits on Twitter? I mean, yeah, that's great. That's fine. Do I like her personally? Nah, I don't. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit the unfollow because it's just not something I do.
See, that's the
if
thing.
I see some pictures come across, I'm like, that's great. Cool. No problem. But
now I'm seeing where the disparity comes or whatever, is for you have to like somebody personally but then I don't know, you're kind of sounding contradictory right now, because you're saying like, because like you're saying, oh, you gotta follow, or rather, okay, I can see it's like, oh, I'll unfollow her on Twitter, but I'll still follow her other places where she.
I mean, if I see her photo, the first thing online, the first thing I'm not gonna do is be like, ew, and then scroll immediately away. It's just like, it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, that's your work, whatever. I don't really want to fuck with you like that. I don't want to be part of that follower number. I don't want you thinking that. Obviously, you know, one unfollow is not going to do anything. But if there were 10,000 people that thought the same way I do, it was like, well, if you're a bitch, I'm going to unfollow you. Like, no, fuck that. Like, no. Then you lose 10,000 followers. Like, it makes a difference when the number is bigger. And obviously, one person's not going to make a difference. Like,
bitch, I mean, like, once again, this might just be a difference of opinion. I wouldn't want them losing their followers. Like, for me, if there's some big titty bitch on the internet that's an asshole, I'm like, okay, I don't have to talk to them, but they still got big titties. I mean,
I don't. That's the thing, is I don't want to support that. It's the same thing when you're like trying to boycott something, and it's like they don't really pay attention until you fuck with their wallets. Like, let's take the Nintendo ambassador program thing, you know, like banning live streams or whatever. For example, if people really were like up in arms about, you know, oh, we don't like that Nintendo's doing this, content creators, stop playing their games, stop streaming their games, like stop giving them so much attention, because when they find out, oh shit, maybe the YouTuber thing does affect our wallet, we need to change our policy. Because if you just sit there and be quiet and you're just kind of taking that dick, then nothing changed, number one, and then number two, you don't get anything out of it. So it's like, like I said, if 10,000 people decided, hey, you're a cunt, I don't want to follow you, and it affects her money by losing 10,000 followers who think I prefer to look at you morally compared to just looking at your tits. Yeah, I appreciate the titties, But if you're a cunt, why am I gonna fucking follow you? Because the first thing I'm gonna do.
I agree with everything. Okay, Jay, I agree with everything that you're saying. Absolutely. And I feel like that would only, be in a perfect world where that would have any weight. Because I feel like in some cases with some things, it's like, that's why when I talk about, I mean, you can get people like iDubbbz with this content cop, for example. And sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't, you know. But like the Rice Gums of the world will never cease to exist. They'll continue out there getting their hustle and making money, making lying bullshit, shitty content. So it's kind of like, it's like there's no point of really like, and same with like these, it's like that, and there's a reason why. That's why, like I was saying, like you know, ugly girls are just better at sucking dick and nicer than hot girls, because hot girls can afford to be assholes because they have their looks. And in the same way with these cosplayers, is that even if they are assholes and they have shitty personalities, like for every 10,000 people that unfollow, that's 10,000 more people are going to follow. So it's just that like titty just transcends personality, and that's just the world we live in.
I mean, hey man, but that's great, and I definitely understand what you're saying. It's just like, yeah, you know, basically it's like, yeah, that's it's just completely irrelevant. You know, it's like it's a completely different type of situation. But like, maybe not situation. Maybe I'm just saying that wrong because I can't find the correct word for it. But to me, it's like, I like the idea of just being like, you know, if I don't respect this person, I don't want to follow this person type shit. Because sometimes it only takes a snowball. Sometimes it only takes a snowball to start an avalanche, you know? It's like, yeah, we don't want this person to lose tens of thousands of followers, not make any more money, and then not post their tits on the internet, because that's the exact opposite of.
But no,
I mean,
but Jay, no, what I'm saying is that like, then the way that we live in this world, there's always going to be a divide. There's never going to be everybody who agrees with one thing or the other. So that's why no matter how universally known it is about how like scummy cosplayer is or a YouTuber is, there's always going to be those people who either just disagree just blatantly, or who don't care, or who like, in fact, that's why I feel like with someone like I mean, in some cases, like I said, this isn't always the case. Now, I feel like it's a bad example to compare YouTubers, because if YouTubers just make shitty content and they get exposed by iDubbbz or something, there's an opportunity for them to just like lose content or lose subs and become irrelevant, like Leafy is here, for example. But then some people like Rice Gum, where I feel like that's just that any advertisement is good advertisement. That's just more like, yeah, he's gonna get some dislikes, he's gonna get some unsubs, but then it's gonna revert back to the way it was, and he might even get more subs and views than before, because Content Cop has made him more known, made him more relevant. In fact, you know, and I just watched the video, you know a perfect example of this, Jay? This was 9 months ago when this video was uploaded, or I don't know the exact amount of time, but it was December 2016, so maybe give or take a year. When H3H3 and iDubbbz made their video making fun of Logan Paul lying about having color blindness in his video. Do you remember that video?
Yeah, I remember that shit. That shit was hilarious. That was a funny ass video.
He had 1 million subs, Jay, when that video was posted, and now he has 10 million in a year, right? So clearly that video, H3H3 was way bigger than him at the time, and that video got a bunch of views, and him and iDubbbz were both people who were notorious for making fun of YouTubers and, you know, and do all this stuff.
Right.
But clearly, like, his channel is known now, and even if there's some people who are like, wow, this guy lied about his colorblindness, the amount of like benefit he got from that far outweighed. Or another example, like all the channels that he makes fun of, Joey Salad, Prank Invasion. I never even heard of these channels. I don't watch that type of fucking content. But you know that they got, from making videos on those channels, they're like any publicity is good publicity. They got some support from that. So like but like sometimes that doesn't happen. Like I said, with some YouTubers, they can become irrelevant and just die off. But I feel like when it comes to stuff like cosplay, like let me just create a scenario for you. Like let's say someone's like, all right, let's start this thing. You know, let's say like a big YouTuber like is like PewDiePie or something. It was like, let's all go and unfollow and just not pay attention to this chick, right? And let's say 1 million people see that, and then 500,000 people see that, and they're like, yeah, I'm not fucking with that person. And the other 500,000 are gonna be like, oh, this is the person that he says not to unfollow. Whoa, she got titties. Hey, fuck that. I'm gonna follow this chick anyways. And if anything, if someone tried to make and like I feel like with cosplay, it's gonna be more times this is gonna be a circumstance. When it comes, like I said, titty just transcends all. When it comes to, let's start a movement to like make this this cosplayer, this porn star, this whoever irrelevant. That will just make them more relevant. I feel like every time that will always do the reverse effect. And it may put them in a negative light, like they may lose respect, but they're not going to lose a following. They're not going to lose support, you know.
Right.
Because
yeah,
they
I see what you're
it's
saying.
supply and demand, you know, and titty is always going to be in demand. And so long as they're posting nudes on their Patreon, people will pay for it and donate to it, regardless of their personalities. Because that's how I feel it is with cosplayers, is that people don't give a shit about their personality. They honestly don't care. Like, you're saying that in a perfect world, you would prefer that, you know, the people that are assholes and do these things aren't relevant or whatever. But that's why they're like that, because they can afford to do that, because that's not going to happen. It's just, it's never happened in the history of that industry. I don't see how it would happen. You know, it would be ideal for it to be the case, but sadly, we're just in a society where people just don't give a shit if
fuck with the money
is an asshole.
Fuck with the money.
Yeah,
That's all I gotta say is just fuck with the money, because sometimes it may be a situation where, yeah, you're right. It just doesn't like they don't, out of 1 million followers, 500,000 people like just dip like out of nowhere, just one day, like in a span of 24 hours, right? And because they're a cosplayer, it's like, you know, you do have 500,000 more people that are just like, oh, titties, like, oh, okay. But in the same time that it took to lose those followers and gain new ones back again, it could be a potential chance to have like this person have an epiphany. Like, why did I lose these 500,000 in the first place?
Like,
like,
gap will exist though, because so let's say somebody gets 500,000 people to unfollow. The whole act of getting people to do that is by making that person known to those people, right? So that like I said, that's a version of negative publicity affecting, because like then you're going to not only get some people who like they're following this person, you try and get them to unfollow, but now you're letting people know who don't follow this person about their existence that they previously didn't know about at all. And some people are going to be like, well, this person says not to fuck with this person, so now I won't.
No, it's not like people that just like randomly follow her. I'm just saying in the scenario of, let's say, you know, it's like 50,000, and that's why I use like the Nintendo Ambassador program as like a little like a little bit more definite example, because obviously when companies have sales you know, like affected because of like YouTubers saying things and shit like that, like then they change policies and shit like that. What I'm saying is, like, even in that split like time period of, yeah, you lost 50,000 followers because you're a cunt, but then 50,000 people more follow you, it's like at a certain point you call that into question.
You off is because that period won't exist. That's what I'm saying. That's never going to happen. There won't even be that gap of time. And like that's what I'm saying. It's like, let's say PewDiePie, and just to make it, let's say PewDiePie makes a video and it gets 5 million views, and he tells people, everybody go unsub to Jessica Negri, right? And so let's say she's at 1 million subs right now. Let's say 250,000 people unsubscribe to her, and it won't be like 250,000 people unsubscribe and then she eventually gains more over time. Both of the loss and the gain will happen at the same time. She'll lose 250,000, but then she'll gain 1 million more at that same time period. So there's not going to be a gap from when she lost the subs and then gain the new ones. She's going the loss and the gain will average out, and instead of losing 250,000 and then gaining 1 million new subs, she'll just gain 750,000.
Right. So now let me present the same exact thing, but like tweak it a little differently. So let's say you do have Jessica Negri, who in her own comment section, so we're just gonna eliminate PewDiePie from the situation because I feel like he's just a huge factor. Like, it's a little different, like, because when he says nigger, he loses like 3,000 subscribers out of, you know, 57 million, and it's like, and they just recuperate like instantaneously.
That controversy probably got him more subs in the long run.
Yeah, because then now you have people who just didn't like. Obviously, you know, PewDiePie being the biggest person on the platform, like, you know, it's kind of hard not to, like, I mean, but Alex didn't know who PewDiePie was, and she uses YouTube quite frequently. She just was completely oblivious to it because that's not her circle. Like I don't
feel like that has to be your circle, though. Like, my grandma knows who PewDiePie is. That's fucking weird.
Once again, like, it's a certain thing. Like, when I talk to comedians going to certain circuits and stuff like that, they don't know who PewDiePie is either. Like, because they just don't know. Because I don't know. I feel
like if someone's not on the internet on YouTube, they wouldn't know.
I mean, once again, it's a weird phenomenon, but it is a thing that happens.
Yeah,
like,
it definitely happens a lot. So yeah, I'm not.
So let's take the Jessica Negri situation again, and let's say she does something stupid in a video. Like, let's say, you know, she's live streaming, she says nigger or something, blah 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 blah. It's like, okay, as a direct effect, yeah, you'll lose subscribers. Whatever. We're not talking about subscribers. Let's say her view count changes. Let's say her watch time changes. Let's say her numbers in general.
Interrelated though, like the numbers are all interrelated. So like,
well, let's just say, just for the sake of this scenario, she goes and she uploads. Yeah, okay. just for, you know, just to fuck with the money, basically. Let's say, you know, she on average, you know, she gets a couple 100,000. Maybe let's round it up. Let's say she gets 1 million views every video, just randomly, right? On the next video that she uploads after her nigger live stream, she has a she has a significant cut of about 40% of both her views, obviously her subscriber drop, and watch time. Like everything just dips 40%, and it stays that way. Like kind of like that. But it's almost like the Fine Bros type of situation, only they were only subscribers and not money. Let's just say, for the sake, her AdSense takes a huge 40% dip just for the next...
Actually, the Fine Bros is a good example that you use.
Yeah, let's just say for the next 3, 4, maybe 5 videos. You know, she notices that, holy shit, because I said nigger on a live stream, I'm losing 40% of the people. And yeah, the numbers are climbing and lowering a little bit, so the number's not stagnant. Like, it's not always the same every single time. She just loses that 40% drop, and she goes, well, why did I... Obviously, you know, that situation is a lot easier to determine. That's why I lost that 40%. But let's just say, you know, she didn't know. Like, maybe she didn't think the word nigger was a big deal or whatever. Obviously, that wouldn't be the scenario. But she goes, okay, well, maybe I need to do something to alleviate this situation. Because I did this one action, the reaction was I lost 40% of my revenue. Or, even better, like the Fine Bros and even PewDiePie, he had a Disney show, you know? He had the Scare PewDiePie thing. Like, so he had all of this.
Talking about did essentially happen to PewDiePie. So
yeah, exactly. So because he did something, he ended up losing more money, which made him, you know, react in a certain way and change the way that he does things. The same thing that would happen if a cosplayer did something stupid and a bunch of patrons just left. Like, just dip. Let's say for a week. And that in turn makes them go, holy shit, because I did this thing, I lost this much amount of money. Because it fucks with the money, which is more detrimental to a lot of people, especially in the cosplayer scene. Like, if I was a cosplayer showing my tits and stuff like that, and all of a sudden I lost 40%, even though, yeah, I'm showing my titties all the time, like, and I lost 40% just for a week, I'd be like, holy shit, let me not do this thing anymore. Like, yeah, it's not gonna suddenly change me overnight. I'm not gonna be a cunt all of a sudden magically, but I'm gonna do it less in public type of situation. That's the scenario that I wanted to pitch. But what you were saying totally applies as well. Like, it definitely fits to the exact same thing where it's like, yeah, you could lose 10,000 followers, but you're gonna gain 8,000 by tomorrow anyway. Like, it's not really gonna affect you. But once it affects the money, it makes you think differently. You know what I mean? Like,
so yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. So basically what I was saying is just like I feel like in every other circumstance, like if YouTube, like in which like the Fine Bros case, they had to make an apology video. With YouTube's case, they had to make an apology video. But I feel like because of the way that like cosplayers, like nobody really subscribes to them for their personality anyways.
Right.
It's for their looks. The personality doesn't factor in. So like when people donate to Momo-kun, they aren't donating to her because they like her as a person. They donate to her because she shows her tits and pictures, right? Even when she had her live stream where she was raising money for her the Las Vegas relief or whatever, she didn't really get a lot of donations because people went on that live stream. She wasn't wearing any makeup. She wasn't cosplaying as anything. She was just playing Overwatch. And
which she's trash at, by the way. She's fucking awful.
Obviously, there's always going to be a percentage of people that, despite that, they'll still stick around. And it's kind of like how I was saying with Afro, how like he made his subs over his Naruto shit, but then he got people to watch his other videos too. But the main fan base mainly just came from the Naruto shit. So same with her. The main majority of her fan base did just come for her tits, but I'm sure that there's a percentage of that also liked her as a person, and they stuck around for that as well. But once, in the same way how with Afro, the Naruto fan base, videos will always get more views than the other videos. There are ways to slowly transition these things out, like with KSI, how he mainly just made FIFA unboxings and eventually converted it to a channel where it was mainly about him. That can happen, and in which case I feel like that would be more of an effect. Like if Momo-kun eventually changed where, like, kind of like Justin Eager, I feel like she's done this to an extent where she started her fan base over her looks, but eventually converted that fan base into people who liked her for her personality. So if Jessica Negri never shows her tits in a video ever again, she might not get like as many views, which I mean that's obvious, but she'll always have a fan base now because of her personality. So then if Jessica Negri did something, her personality would take a hit, and then it's just like either apologize or either try to redeem your personality, your reputation, or show your tits again.
Right.
So for somebody like with Momo or just any cosplayer, not to single anybody out, I guess, if they never make an attempt to, or if like they're just like an asshole, or people don't like them or whatever, but they're constantly shelling out that titty content, well, it's like, okay, she's an asshole. I don't care. I never came to her for her personality anyways. I always came for the titties, and as long as she's continuously providing the content that I came for, and that's all I care about. So that's why I feel like with stuff like when it comes to matters of the dick, I feel like that's an exception, because it's just so powerful that it's like, you know, that it's almost as though like I don't know. I'm tired.
Now let me ask you on the receiving end, of that, like, would you think that she would completely, like, maybe not completely, but like adjust her attitude or question her attitude or the things that she does or the things that she says? Because all of a sudden it's like, I kind of feel
like she's doing that already. I kind of feel like just being like, you know, roasted on the internet and deleting videos and breakdowns and people talking to her might already do that. But I don't think that would stem from her revenue or her following necessarily explicitly. But if we're going to talk about like this hypothetical scenario you were talking about, if there was a period of, okay, you know, I said something that people didn't like and I got a temporary hit in my fan base, I feel like depending on the person, if they are genuinely an asshole wholeheartedly from the bottom of their heart, then I don't feel like that situation would change them. And if anything, they're like, all right, I just got to shell out more titties to overshadow the hate.
Right.
So now it's just like, well, I don't know, man. She's an asshole, but she
showed us her tits again this week. Like, I think I can forgive her.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly right. So
I don't care that she swore up and down that she can't stand niggers and wants them all lynched. She showed us her tits. I mean, during a live stream, she could have got banned for that, bro. She like showed us areola and everything, man. I don't know. I think I'm still gonna subscribe to her on Patreon. Like. I don't know.
Like, an example of that is like, do you remember who Clara Babylegs is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she's basically just a cam girl now. She's or a cam whore, as you would call it. And it's funny because people were making fun of her on Twitter because she was in the past, because when she was dating Bashverse and it was just like, you know, making money off of his channel and stuff, she was always making fun of people who were resorted to being cam girls or whatever. Like, oh, this person's a cam whore now, ha ha ha. But now she's become a cam whore, from her words, right? What she was making fun of other girls from doing, and people were you know, roasting her about that. It's like, wow, you're a hypocrite. But I mean, but it's like, okay, you're a hypocrite. You made fun of the other girls for being cam whores. Now you're a cam whore. But I mean, you're a cam whore now. Like, I can see you sucking on dildos online and masturbating. So, you know, it's like, yeah, you're a hypocrite, but I'm still gonna cop that stream. You know, that's
right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but then again, you know what? I feel like for somebody like me, that wouldn't matter if you showed your tits to me on stream. I don't care. You can come to my house and offer to blow me, and I'm just like, I don't care. I'm sorry.
And that's what I'm saying. Is like,
I'm just in a completely different mind zone. Probably because I've been in a monogamous relationship for the past 7.5 years now. So shout out to Mrs. Sama. I think she's watching the stream. I'm not sure. She has to go to work tomorrow, so she better not. That type of stuff doesn't do anything for me anymore. It's like, yeah, obviously I love titties, you know, you throw your pussy in my face, that's cool and everything. Now you ask me to pay you for that, bitch, you must have lost your rabbit ass mind. Like, oh no, no.
And like,
I'm good.
It's just, yeah, and I understand that, and that's probably how this low tier god is, for example, as well. But I just feel like for every person like that, there's 5 people who are just like, you know what, I just want to see a bitch masturbating on Snapchat. I don't care. Like, so that's just what it comes down to, or whatnot. So, but I mean, for me personally though, like, I don't feel like, and I mean, okay, so, and I like to do this in all circumstances, like take both sides, play devil's advocate, because for me, when I see like this video that low tier god made, stop falling for female cosplayers, it's like, are we really falling for them though? And even more, it's
more like volunteering for it, but the point he's trying to make is obviously there's some 15, 16-year-old kids. It's the same thing with the Zoe Burger situation.
Like you're
just
of his argument. I think it's more like there are actual people out here that are believing like Jessica Negri's got real titties, right? Or believing that some of these cosplayers might pretend to do something, or like a lot of these cosplayers, like, let's be real, they're not really fans of anime or video games. They just cosplay as these to get the fans to donate to them and support them and follow them, right? So it's just like, maybe it's just
I'm still trying to convince Alex not to do that shit. She was like, it's easy money. I was like, bitch, you're not. No, what is wrong with you? Like,
so maybe this guy is marketing towards the people that believe that shit is real, and if that's why they're supporting them, that shouldn't be why you support them. And if that's the stance he's taking, which he probably is, I get that, because because I'm not that person. It's hard for me to sympathize with that example, because like in H3H3 does this a lot too, where he'll talk about like prank invasion in channel, for example, and how like, or even like content cop with iDubbbz, how like these people need to stop making content, and it's just like, well, if they're making, it's like, who cares if they're what they're doing to make their content, because it's like if they're doing their hustle, whatever. But then you got to remember that there are people out there that think it's real. They're influenced by these things. They might go out and try to do the same things. Like if Prank Invasion does a kissing prank channel video, and it gets a bunch of little kids out here molesting people in public and shit. So if you look at it from that perspective, then it makes sense.
Like, ooh, that was a doozy on that one. I wasn't expecting that.
So then it makes sense. It's just like, yeah, you have to inform people of this, not because it's like, well, it's not that I don't enjoy it, but it's just I know what it is. There are people who are out there enjoying content for the wrong reasons, and it might affect them in the wrong way. And then you gotta, yeah. So from that perspective, from that point of view, I see the desire to expose those types of things, because yeah, like, because I mean, and sometimes H3H3 or iDubbbz will make a video, like, you know, like how iDubbbz made a content hub about Drama Alert, and how like this, like, and basically in that video he's trying to tell people like Drama Alert isn't real news, don't take it seriously, it's not objective, you know. And I mean, when I watch Drama Alert's videos, I know that it's not objective and that it's all just gossip, and that he's not a reputable source for information, you know. I know this and I enjoy the content with that in mind, but I understand the need to make a content cop on Drama Alert on Keemstar, so that the people who are ignorant don't go watching his videos thinking that it's a news channel, thinking that it's objective, thinking that he's giving out facts. And so I feel like it's for those people. So that's why I feel like I can relate to calling cosplayers thoughts and calling out YouTubers making clickbaity lying content, because it doesn't affect me, but it's not for me, and that's why I don't relate to it. So I get that. So that's why. So after having this conversation, Jay, I will say that
it's just white knighting. It's just another form of white knighting. That's it.
Yeah. So I see where this is coming from. I see both sides of this argument once again, but also what I want you to take in mind, Jay, is and like, because I know that I do this all the time, is that to be able to look at both sides too, is to think like, okay, which I mean, and if she's done all this stuff and you've seen all these things, then maybe you've already came to this conclusion, because you seem like he's like, oh, I liked her before. Like I'm not going to support or deny this, that Momo-kun is an asshole or whatever, because the stuff that I've been exposed to, you know, the good and the bad, I've averaged out and come to the assumption that I don't think she's a bad person. But I would say like in fact, the moment you said this stuff with Low Tier God or whatever, I didn't think like, oh man, I like Momo-kun, he talks shit about her, I don't like this guy now, because I don't know the context, I don't know who this guy is, I don't know where he's coming from. So I feel like it's an example of that, really, like, because I think it's really easy for people to do that when they hear somebody not or talk shit to somebody that they like, they instantly by default don't like that person either. Like,
right.
It's perfectly okay for me to, in my own way or to my own extent, agree, like, or support people on both sides of an argument. It doesn't mean that just because I agree with this person on this thing doesn't mean I totally disagree with this person on the other thing necessarily too. So but yeah, I just feel like in the same way, if we're going to like I guess, and like, once again, I have to work on this, but like I feel like everyone has to work on this because it's just human nature to be biased. But I feel like I just have to take the effort to see both sides, be like, okay, well, what if I'm in this person's shoes? How do I feel? Where am I? Like, how's the situation for me?
What if I'm showing my tits on the internet? Like,
yeah, what if I'm sucking dick to get into cons? I need somebody to defend me or somebody to sympathize for my situation, right? Like, so
I'm not. I can't
so yeah.
Sympathize on that. I mean, but then again, we've had entire conversations where we sat here like, yeah, if you a hoe it up and all this other shit, like that, you know, be you to the truest ability that you can. But like at the same time, we've also, held conversations in this same context where we were like, yeah, but if you're demeaning other hoes for being hoes, but you are a hoe to get to the point where you are, you can't. That's not cool. So that's like if Amber Rose were to suddenly, that's like if Amber Rose were to suddenly start slut shaming people, but she does the exact opposite with the slut walk, obviously. Like,
so in a nutshell, I feel like it's like so the low tier guy, he's not talking shit about Momo for hoeing it up. He's talking about her for disregarding it and I feel like in a way by denying that, you're also saying like, or saying I wouldn't do things like that or putting those things down, then you are like, so then it's like, so I'm sure there's some other cosplayer were like, well, I suck dick to get in the cons too. I thought we were one and the same, but you're saying that shit like you ain't about that life.
Right.
Now I feel like a hoe because you're saying that, oh no, that's not something that you do or that you support. It's just like, well, you know. But and then like if you're someone who doesn't, and once again, I don't know, but you said that she admitted to these things, but I don't know if she actually did these things. If you're somebody who doesn't suck dick to get into cons and you're talking shit about other people who suck dick to get into cons, that's fine, that's your opinion. But it's like, so where I feel like where the issue lies here, and once again, I'm not taking sides or stating facts, I'm just going off from what I've heard, is like don't suck dick to get into cons and then talk shit about other people sucking dick to get into cons.
Right.
Basically what you're saying, Jay, don't slut shame when you're a slut.
Exactly. Don't they call it the saying they call it is don't throw rocks in a glass house. In your glass house specifically. Like it's just so strange. And obviously, you know, my circumstance is completely different than yours. Like, you know, I see Momo-kun's tits, I'm like, all right, cool, yay. More tits for the internet. That's great. It's like that time I tried to convince you like Pornhub Premium's not worth it, and you tried to you were telling me like no it's, you know, HD, you know, all these other videos that I haven't seen yet, and I was like, but when are you gonna go through all of the porn on Pornhub? So it's I mean
for me I like I don't remember the conversation. It totally sounds like a conversation that we had though. But for me, the reason why I like Pornhub Premium over regular Pornhub is that they give you like, it's not a matter of like, oh man, I haven't gone through all the, like, I honestly sometimes feel like it's hard finding good like videos like on regular Pornhub, like, and then when you do, like it might just be a clip or something like that. But for Pornhub Premium, you'll be exposed to hundreds of videos that all are fire and they're full length. They're not clips, so all of the parts are in it. So it's not like he left out the best part or whatever.
Right.
So that's why.
And then you're not stuck searching Google for image, trying to find what specific video, because when you see it, you can click it and it shows up. It's like right there. It's not like, it's no longer an ad on the side. It's the actual like thing. You know what I mean? And plus, it gives you you know, like membership to other sites and stuff like that. So I could definitely see a reward for that.
I like it not necessarily because it has, not because of the like, because I need access to more videos, but more like they're just higher quality videos and they're better and stuff like that. And it's just convenient because it's all in one place. Because honestly, I could, if I wanted to, I could find the same amount of stuff on like various other sites. Like I have a bunch of sites where there's like free premium shit on there that I go to and stuff too. And sometimes I go on those instead. And also, and it's one of those things to where it's just like, it comes down to like, how much does it cost and is it worth what you're paying for? Because like obviously, like in the same way, it's all convenience thing. In the same way that I pay for Pornhub Premium, which is like, I don't know, is like $5 a month or something like that. Even though I could get porn in other places too. The same way that I am subscribed to Crunchyroll Premium, I can watch all these anime on Kiss Anime or something like that. But you know, if I watch it on Crunchyroll, I know I'll be able to track my progress. I'll be able to go back to it and rewatch the same episodes. I'll be able to formulate a queue. You know, I know guaranteed it'll be in high quality. It won't stutter as much, or on some other sites I won't have to go through a bunch of ads and shit like that. You know, it's all in one place. I can watch it on my phone, on my TV, and everything like that. So it's kind of like that, I feel like. Because for Pornhub Premium, I mean, not that I could really do that with the people in my house, but if I wanted to cast Pornhub Premium HD 4K videos to my big screen in the living room, I could do that, right? Because
you have the option now. You have the option.
Exactly, I have the option. So it's more of a convenience thing, really. And it's because I can afford to do that. Because I'm like, $5 is just a drop in the bucket. I won't notice. So you're telling me I can spend enough money that I won't even
Especially when you got nice AdSense money coming in.
Right, when you're getting, see, maybe the average person, a Pornhub Premium membership doesn't make any sense, but when you're getting that AdSense money and you're like, okay, all I gotta do is drop a dime in the bucket that I won't ever see again, and I can get HD porn all the time, that seems like a great deal.
And watch it on my large TV too.
Right. That's why I'm subscribed to like Crunchyroll and all these other things, because like now it's the point to where that percentage isn't that big of a deal. But I mean, if one day I am in some financial issue where I need to afford, like I need all the money I can get, then it's like, well, fuck that. I'm going on Kiss Anime. I'm going on X Hamster, Spanked Bang, X Videos,
where they upload the real episodes of the anime. Yeah.
Right. So that's what I'll do what I got to do, but I'm not in that situation. So, all right, yeah. I don't even know how we went to a whole full-length conversation about how about hoes and.
Hey man, I feel like every conversation, every time we do a podcast, I feel like actually, you know what's interesting is we didn't sit and talk about YouTube specifically for an hour and a half because we seem to like always go on that rant. So it's refreshing to have something else. You know, maybe next week we'll talk about racism like that. That'll be very interesting. Which I know is not
when they collide, it just goes all over the place. So that's why we'll start out talking about one thing, and we'll find ourselves in a way different. In fact, you know what? I think that's actually better though, Jay, because like I like that our conversations are more organic as opposed to most podcasts or most people who I listen to talk. It just seems like they have like these bullet points that they go through, and it's just like, bro, just like I don't know. I hate fucking conversations like that because then it's like if you're just talking about people just talking about stuff, and it's just like it's an organic thing. I feel like
it's not as fun, and plus like when you're like, kind of keeping it to like these specific things, it's like it's easy to like suddenly stem to 5 other topics when we're talking about YouTube money. Okay, so if we're talking about YouTube money, there's PewDiePie money, there's H3H3 money, then there's motherfucking Keemstar money. That nigga got money, like goddamn. Then you got Philip DeFranco money, which is technically Patreon money, but he's got a really big ass house. But you know what the fuck ever. So then you know you stem to like 12 different fucking topics.
Still kind of like stay on one and still have some level of direction. But like that's why I like people like with David Dobrik's podcast to sort of listen to, or with the Breakfast Club, not the Breakfast Club.
See, but the thing with David Dobrik's podcast is they're just coons. They're just talking. Like I feel like they weren't.
What's podcast called again? I forgot what it was called.
The Brilliant Idiots. Yeah, I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it in a while. So.
Yeah, me neither. But I like how their conversations are very organic and very fluid. Like you know who has some like it's kind of hard to really enjoy is the what was it called, like the Daily Struggle or some shit, that complex thing with academics on it. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. I don't watch that because I watch specific episodes depending on who they are. Like you know they'll have Lil Yachty. Obviously that was they have a Lil Yachty. He was on there. That was the first time I had ever seen that show. And then I think I had seen a few other ones. Yeah, I had seen some of that because obviously the viral stuff. Yeah, obviously the viral stuff I watch. So,
but like the problem I have with that is like, and obviously it's not her fault. It's like this is what their producer telling them to do. But like the main chick, she's like basically the moderator of the conversation. So like when they're talking, she's gonna make sure that they're still steering in the right direction in terms of topics. And like that's fine. But like sometimes it's like, for example, Vince Staples. Which I like Vince Staples, especially since like he like grew up like fucking 4 blocks away.
He's from Long Beach. Like I actually like that guy's music.
So Vince Staples was on an episode, and him and Joe and academics, they were having this really interesting conversation. I was into it, and then like, but then the chick, she's like, okay, we need to move on to the next topic. Like, oh yeah, okay, she's gonna kill us if we don't move on to the next topic. I'm like, what the fuck? I was enjoying this conversation. It was organic, you know. They ease into this conversation and they're having it, but they cut the conversation short because they want to talk about some extra shit that I didn't want to talk about.
Yeah, but that's a network type of show though. Like that's what they put on there. So
which is why I prefer stuff like YouTube, where it's just like it's very organic. There's no structure to it. Well, there's a loose structure to it as opposed to a strict regiment to go by, because I feel like that's better. Like for example, like
I don't know, man. You know what would be dope is a YouTube Red Heavenly Kings podcast. That would be lit.
Man,
I would love that.
Or you know what I feel like is the perfect balance is, which I've actually never watched an episode of this show. I've just seen clips on YouTube. Was the Uncommon Sense Charlemagne show on MTV.
Oh yeah, I actually like that show.
It had a certain level of structure to it, but it also seemed like it was also had a little bit of freestyle coonery going on, which I also thought was pretty interesting. But yeah, so like I feel like, but the thing that I think they probably do in that show, which is what I prefer, is to basically have some bullet points, some guidelines to go by, but you can also somewhat like they're only guidelines. So like if you know, because sometimes people, they need a little bit of assistance or guidance to keep the conversation going. But if people are having a dope conversation and it's going and they're having a dope dialogue, just keep it going. Because sometimes, and I've seen in interviews where they'll ask them one question, and they had a bunch of questions, but it was such an interesting conversation about this one question. Really, you only ended up asking them a couple things, but they had very long and well thought out answers to those few questions. Like there was this one interview that I watched with what's his name? Terry Crews, and I think it was on Power 106 or.
Oh, it was 97.3. Yeah, because that video came out the other day. I watched it too.
Okay. What was he talking about then? He was talking about.
He was talking about
the kneeling football thing or something.
Yeah, he was talking about that, and he was also talking about how college kids don't get paid to play, football. And he was saying that's that's tremendous bullshit because that's $1 billion industry, just college football alone, and they don't pay the kids anything. Yeah, you get a nice ride in college and everything like that, but if you're suffering from concussions and shit like that, you can't properly attend your classes anyway.
Okay, but I wasn't trying to talk about that shit. Basically, the point that I was trying to get to.
You bullshit. You got me excited. I was like, oh, we get another topic, yay! Like,
I like to, but Jay, this stream has been going on for almost 2.5 hours now. Okay, I'm not trying to go on.
Let me see. Can we get? Hold on. Let me ask. Can we get some donations in the chat? Like, if we get some donations in the chat right now, we'll keep the podcast going. Can we get some super chats for Heavenly Controller, please?
I'll let you. I don't even know how to super chat enabled on this channel. Maybe I need to do that. But I'll let you go on a tangent about Assassin's Creed for 40 minutes in the middle of the podcast, but not towards the end. Like
not towards the end.
But basically, what I was trying to say was
good to know where my worth lies.
They had a whole conversation or interview rather about that one topic with Terry Crews, or it took up a good bulk of it. And they didn't like stop him in the middle of his monologue or his dialogue about that to go to another question because that was an interesting topic that they were having. So
right, and then they started talking about Kaepernick taking a knee and like how that affects the entire like NFL and everything, and now it's become a spectacle. Like people expect it. Now they're putting on shows for it because they rarely for football games on television, they rarely show the national anthem. So now they're doing it on purpose. So like when the Cowboys 2 weeks ago decided their entire team, including their partially racist owner allegedly, took a knee and they made it a huge spectacle on television. Then they had the band come out during the kneel, and it's like, all right, now you're making it. Now you're making fun of it at that point. You're taking something that was respectful. Like
with Terry Crews, I was just like, I think Ebro was saying this. It was just like, I understand that football is in a way kind of like it's kind of like another way of like Mandingo fights, but it's just like, yeah, I get what it is. But now when you turn it into some bullshit thing, it's like I can't watch this now. Like,
yeah, it's some bullshit spectacle, and obviously I could talk about this for tons of fucking time. No, we only need a couple of dollars. We don't need hundreds. Hundreds would be dope, but I mean, we only need a couple of dollars. Okay.
Listen, Jay, we'll do encore live streams when I don't got school tomorrow and when I have super chat enabled.
First of all, you know damn well you ain't worried about no damn school. Okay. You and I both know you ain't worried about that shit.
I'm going otherwise. So.
All right. Well, yeah. Anything else you wanna end on? Aaron Age, I hear you mashing on your fight stick. You have any wise words of wisdoms for the people in the stream?
Don't argue with Heavenly. He's always right.
No, argue with me. I mean, I feel like Jay's the only one who can argue with me effectively. But
bro,
no,
I could be absolutely wrong on something, Googling it at the same time, trying to prove that I'm right. Like it's the same thing. I remember I was telling you about this conversation I had with my uncle last week, where he swears up and down that the planet is flat and all this other shit. And I was like, I was trying to tell him, I was like, if I put enough money into Google, I can prove that every time you sneeze, a cat dies. And he was just so baffled by it. Like he just couldn't believe, like, because obviously, these flat Earth people, they get their information from the fucking internet, and it's like you can abuse that shit like to the highest
I don't think
degree,
there's any problem with arguing and debating, so long as you're not arguing with a somewhat what's the word, like a narrow perspective. Because I feel like that whole
I feel like there's two about the I feel like there's two things that you need to I feel like there's two things that you kind of need to take out of, like your ability to see both sides, obviously, and to keep an open mind and stuff like that this other person could be right, could be wrong, they have a different opinion. And you need to drop the malice out of conversations like that, because sometimes people get really offended.
Because like I feel like overall, like with that low tier god argument, I feel like you for the most part won that debate, because what you were saying I eventually ended up agreeing with in the end, to an extent though. And that's why I think is what comes from people like not being able to debate effectively, is they feel like someone has to win the debate. Someone has to be fully right and the other person has to be completely wrong. That's not, almost 99% of the time, that's not the case. Someone might be right about more aspects of the argument than the other, but it's like you have to kind of come to a disagree or agree to disagree. That's also another thing too.
And I feel like I feel like for that argument specifically, no, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I feel like for that argument specifically, it was just more a matter of like, you know, lacking information, I guess, or whatnot. But I feel like a lot of people, they get into arguments and like, and yeah, that's another thing too, Jay, is like the malice out of it too. Like for me, it's like I don't ever really feel that in like a conversation, because it's like most arguments like are not like debates like how we have. Most like arguments that people have, it's over the dumbest shit. So I don't really, it's like you kind of have to like leave your,
it just doesn't make any sense. Like,
yeah, it's like you kind of like need to leave that at the door. It's like you're going into this separate space when you have those types of conversations, because like, yeah, like, cause it's kind of like, well, never mind, that's not a good example, but like, it's like kind of like when you're having a debate about like, and I mean, I get, that's why like it's because I'm not this kind of person.
I mean, don't get it twisted though. Like, there's been times where I've gotten like super heated, specifically at Ren Show, because he's saying some shit.
Like it depends.
I feel like sometimes his stupidity just like makes me so infuriated to the point where I feel like I'm physically offended by how stupid this person is. Like I just be getting hella triggered. Like,
I don't know. I feel like for you, maybe that might happen more often. Like I feel like for me, so like I don't ever really get genuinely like triggered over something like outside of the conversation for the most part. That's why it baffles me when I'll be having these like comments like on Dragon Ball Super, like where people are like, "You don't like Dragon Ball Super? Well, fuck you, you virgin pussy faggot, don't get no bitches." And I'm like, what? How does that have anything to do with me not liking Dragon Ball Super? Like, how is you gonna turn an opinion on a cartoon to attack on my person? Those are two.
Oh, it's even worse with anime, because I actually talked to some people that were, okay, let me not throw this out there, but basically I know a guy who knows the guy who took down it's 2 degrees of separation, who took down Avatar Yaya's channel, who took down S.Dot's channel, hacked him, DDoSed him, doxed him. Yeah, I had this conversation a few days ago. Not the actual event. Took down ZZ Toasty, took down a bunch of other people, and tried to hack Afro. Like, I talked to these guys, and like they put me on some watchdog shit, and they were saying like they were mad at this person's opinion, like S.Dot's opinion of a certain thing, so they decided to dox him and his entire family. This anime shit, like when these dudes told me over an opinion of a cartoon, that they decided to dox somebody, ruin their credit, put their credit card information out on the internet, their address, all this other shit, because of their opinion on a cartoon, I was like, you niggas are petty on another fucking level.
That's like they bleed that shit. They take it way too personally.
You got like 14 and 15-year-olds like doing this shit.
Yeah, it's like if you don't like their anime, suddenly it's almost as though, well, if I like that anime, and he's saying this anime sucks, that means I suck. Like, it's like, no, maybe it just sucks.
Some of these niggas really feel like they're personally offended. Like, no, I love this show. Almost like they made the show. Like, what?
Like, if you talk shit about a show, you're shitting on everybody who's a fan of that show. Like, that's how they feel. Like, it's just like, bro, like, it's just an opinion at the end of the day. And it's like, and people are like, oh, that's just your opinion. It's like, well, no shit. I shouldn't have to say that, right? I'm not gonna say in my opinion, because my opinions are facts for me. But if it's like, well, oh, you say it like it's fact because your opinion. It's like everyone's opinion is a fact to them. Like, no one's gonna say.
I mean, it's different if I formulated my opinion based on facts. That's a completely different thing.
Yeah,
like,
if I make a video and I use false facts to support my argument and say it like it's a fact, then you can contradict those facts to discredit my argument.
That's fake news, my nigga. Fake news.
Yeah, but it's like most of my videos, it's common sense. When I say, I feel like the statement Dragon Ball Super sucks it's not even a statement of fact, or like, whether something sucks is always going to be objective. So I shouldn't have to state that, because it's common fucking sense. When someone says something sucks or something is good, that's all opinion. It doesn't matter. There's no amount of factual evidence that you can provide to justify why something is good, why something sucks. At the end of the day, no matter how much evidence you provide, it's still just an opinion. So I shouldn't have to justify that, because all critiques are opinions. So it's like, oh, you say like it's fact, it's an opinion. It's like, that, I mean, once again, I have to remind myself that for every, you know, adult that I'm talking to 5 kids. So I'm not gonna sit here and trying to explain adult concepts to a child because they're not gonna comprehend it. They need to grow up before they learn. So it just comes down to honestly, and like I was saying what Etika does, and I feel like this makes things so much simpler. At the end of the day, just don't even respond to any of it. And then
hey man, I would love for that to be the case. But I remember when I told you about the Dishonored thing, and that was off of Dishonored, and the guy this dude had doxed me, and I was like, pull up in my house, bro. Like he had all of my fucking information and everything. I was like, all right, so what you gonna do with it? Like, you gonna put it out on the internet?
Yeah, like some guy threatened to do that to me before one time, and I'm like, fucking do it. Like, what?
But it's another thing, like, to ignore it. It's well, yeah, when you're bigger, but it's one thing to ignore it and like, oh yeah, this is just all haters talking and you know all this other shit. But once somebody takes your credit card number and puts it online and does this, that, and the other thing, it's like.
Once you start to interfere with people's money, it becomes a whole other game. In which case, now you're interfering with a matter of law and things like that, and just like, well, now we gotta pull the feds on your ass, bro.
Now we have a huge fucking problem. But anyway, going back to what I said, and then we can go ahead and wrap it up. Is those leaving those two things, keeping an open mind, that needs to be something going into a debate, and making sure to take the malice out of a conversation, because sometimes you'll present certain things and say certain things, and it's like, listen, this is all within the context of our conversation. It will get heated, whatever. That's why a lot of people in the comment section, a lot of people during the live streams when we do the podcast, they'll be like, oh man, he's roasting Jay, or Jay's roasting Heavenly, and blah 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 blah. That's like, yo, this is all in good fun. I honestly probably would not want to debate with anybody else, because nobody's gonna put up a fight.
I honestly don't feel like I feel like most of the people who are on this stream have like seen us argue with each other, and so they know that we just argue over everything. It's just like,
because it's not fun if we just have the same fucking opinion about everything, and it's just like, all right, so now this conversation's over.
I feel like a lot of times they're not even arguments. I feel like that's just how we talk. Me and Jay will be complimenting each other via argument. Like, it's be like, well, I think you got nice hair today. Fuck you, your hair is better. Like,
that's basically what it is. Because especially, and about the second thing, I totally forgot to mention this, because it keeps slipping away from my fucking mind. Is that obviously, having somebody else's like point of view and things like that is being completely open-minded, that your opinion may just be the stupidest fucking thing on the planet. Like, you have to be perfectly content with saying that, yes, the things that I am saying somebody will find absurd, because the world is a very big place. I tell people all the time, when you're in my comment section, Jay, I'm gonna unfollow you because you did this, that, and the other thing. There are 7.5 billion people on this fucking planet, okay? Don't you think for a second that one person saying that they're gonna unsubscribe is going to fucking bother me or any other creator out there. Some of these creators will be like, oh no, I'm sorry, please don't unsubscribe and shit like that. They'll panhandle to you and everything. But when it comes to like bottom of the line, like, if you're not real upfront and letting people know, like, yo, this is the situation, it's almost like, that's why it's so difficult to get people in the podcast. Like, I've had people tweet me like, hey, can you get this YouTuber on the podcast and stuff like that? And then when I go and I look them up, I be like, nah, this person's sensitive. They can't be in our podcast. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, the few times that we've had,
the only person we've had on our podcast is Afro, because he's the only person who we can talk shit about.
Yeah, and even then, it's like, it's almost still like pulling punches, because I feel like every single time, I think we've only had him on the podcast, like, yeah, I feel like we've only had him, 2, maybe 3 times on the podcast, and every single time it gets a little bit more comfortable. But this last conversation that we had with him, last week or whatever, there were certain things that I wanted to say to him that I was like, okay, I don't think I should say these things, not as a way to censor myself, but as a way to, like, I don't know how he's gonna respond, so maybe I should wait until another time to where I feel a little bit more comfortable. Like, as soon as he left, I was like, I feel like Afro was having a conversation specifically with you, and I was just a fucking cameo, because a lot of shit that he was saying.
I noticed that, like, just the other day, that, like, I didn't realize I did, but I'm like, I do have, when I talk to certain people that I don't fully know, I do, because I don't like to censor myself or filter myself, but, like, I do filter myself with certain groups of people, because, like, yeah, it's like, if they don't know how I am, I don't know how they're gonna respond. Like, obviously on my YouTube channel, I won't do that, because that's my space right there. That's where I unleash, and it's just like, it's like, you came to me, right? It's like, kind of like how you would treat someone differently if you came over to their house as opposed to if they came over to your house. It's like, well, you came to my domain, so you have to entertain.
You came to my video trying to tell me how to run my channel.
Right. So it's kind of like how like I'll probably talk to somebody with more politeness if I'm talking to somebody like out in public, as opposed to somebody knocks on my door. It's just like, you're at my house, so like, what the fuck do you want? Like, or you know, it's just like it's more of a like, I'm in charge of this conversation. Like, this is my domain type of situation.
Right. So you know, even in the context of speaking to Afro, like every time I have a conversation with him, I feel like, yes, it would be great for me to personally have. I think I've only ever had 2 or 3 personal conversations with this guy, and like, that's a great conversation because it's another person to talk to, so that entitled, like, he's gonna have things to say, whether it be about YouTube or about life or anything that I haven't heard, you know, and vice versa. Like, you know, me holding a conversation with this guy, maybe I'll say something to him that he's just like, wow, you know what, yeah, that makes sense. Like, you know, so I enjoy having new people on the podcast, but only if they can keep up, type of thing, you know. So, you know, that's just the way I feel about it.
We need to cut this shit out. We can't come up with an outro because it'll go on in 3 hours. I'm not trying to do that. So all you guys, this video is sponsored by Porno Premium. Get the fuck out.
Oh yeah, I do want to let everybody know that while you guys are still in the podcast is available on iTunes, Podbean, and of course on the various YouTube platforms. You guys can look in the description section. And we're glad we brought you this 2.5-hour podcast because we missed the past couple of weeks. But
yeah, so this makes up for the other 2. So yeah.
Exactly. So, but we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. For anybody that's still in my stream, you guys are more than welcome to leave. I know it's late. A lot of you guys got to go to school tomorrow. I'm about to play Assassin's Creed Unity because I have to catch up on my contractual obligation to finish Unity and Syndicate, so that way I can get my free copy of Origins. So, you know, I'm going to cut the stream off, and then I'm going to cut it back on for anybody who wants to stay. You guys are more than welcome. Also, if anybody is in my stream right now, and you guys don't have access to it, I think most of you guys do, though, because I've seen all of you guys. All of you guys are regulars. My Discord link is down in the description, so you guys can click that, get the invitation. I'll give you your YouTube icon, because everybody has a specific icon from where they come from. So, but yeah, give me a couple of minutes, guys. So if you guys want to, we're playing Assassin's Creed Unity for about an hour, maybe 2 hours or whatever, until I fucking fall asleep. And other than that, you know, take your asses to bed.
What's Rencho doing now here? Let me drag him up.
I don't know. He's got the Hokage role, right?
Rencho,
oh,
what you doing on the tuning exams like a peasant?
By the way, I changed. Probably wasn't a good idea. What's up, Rencho? I changed the Hokage Mansion to Hokage and Sannin because before it was Hokage, Sannin, Jonin, and for some reason Chunin could get in here.
Yeah, I forgot about Corn. The Hokage Mansion wasn't like that. That was just Kage-sama.
Yeah, there was like
Hokage Mansion was supposed to be just Hokage, and that's it.
Yeah, that's what I changed it to. I made sure that it was just that.
The reason why I made this chat because I would be in the because the Kage-sama chat was basically for like just me, you, Rencho, and Naishing to come in, and well, I guess Arrow now, or like Kilo or Beacon. And so like if I was like in the middle of something and one of you guys came in, and then like I was like, okay, I'll stop and talk to one of you guys. But if some random nigga comes in, I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. I'm in the middle of something. I'm only in this chat in case somebody that I want to talk to comes in here. So I would be in the Kage-sama chat editing a video or doing whatever. You know, some one of these like I don't know like because it's not me, but maybe I don't know who.
The only other people that are allowed in
all these random ass people I don't know be hopping in here, and I'm like, what the fuck? Who is this? So,
the only other people that are able to hop in the Kage Summit chat are obviously the Thick Squad people that pay so they can get in. So yeah, that's been a huge issue for me, and I was like that's really fucking annoying. So, you know, that's the only thing. Oh, by the way, I posted this other picture of Momo in the chat of an unfiltered picture of her trying on you know, putting this bikini on, and it looks gross.
Oh yeah, she definitely, when she takes her pics, finds the perfect angles, and I'm sure there's some Photoshop involved. So.
Yeah, there's some shit in there, man.
Yeah, she's definitely like, it's definitely the cosplay that does a lot of work. She's definitely a lot like, yeah.
Top left ain't that bad, but everything else is.
Yeah, right. Guys, give me a 1 second. I'm trying to set up Assassin's Creed Unity right now. So, cause it takes forever for this just to set up. Oh shit! Well, shit. We might be playing Overwatch. But Renshaw has me muted, so I don't feel like playing Overwatch.
Wait, Renshaw, I can't hear you. Your thing's turned on too low.
Nah, he still got me muted, bro.
Really?
Yeah.
Renshaw, you got
Wait, Jay, are you gonna keep streaming after this?
Why?
Of course he does.
Let me finish my corn dog. Shit.
That's okay. Like I said, I already told Heavenly. I was like, I have no interest in talking to Renshaw. He has nothing interesting for me to listen to. So.
Jay,
yeah,
you're unmuted.
Renshaw says you're not muted, Jay. You're just really low. I don't know. You guys are all low for me. Hold on. Maybe I just need to turn up my thing.
Oh well, it's not my mic, so. Yeah, guys, give me 1 second. I'm gonna turn the stream off and then turn it back on. So.
Your mic was the lowest. Was the one that was low for me.
I posted all the Momo stuff. I posted it in the Kage Summit in Heavenly's chat. So if you have access to that, which most of you probably don't. So. Which reminds me, who has access to the text chat?
The text chat, they have. I think it's joining can look in there, but they cannot type. Signing can look in there and type.
Apparently, Thick Squad can type in here. Okay, yeah. They pay to type in there, I guess. But let's see, Sani. All right, whatever. I don't give a shit. That's too much work for me to look into. So. But give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the stream and then restart it so that way it separates them. So give me about 3 minutes. All of you guys who are leaving, thank you guys for coming. I'll see you guys next time. For everybody who's staying, why the fuck are you still awake? I'm just so confused. I'm very, very concerned for your livelihood, your safety, just everything. Just very concerned.